trouble than he's worth. And I believe that Howie is now sitting with the 23rd pick on a receiver. And as Cody has talked about many times, this draft is flat out loaded with receivers, starting with your guy from USC. But it just keeps going down, down, down. And, man, Zachariah is sitting there at 23, and Brazel is sitting there at 23, and Concepcion. And it just there's somebody sitting there at 23 that they will take to be a new starting receiver. And I believe that A.J. Brown will be traded on July the 2nd when the cap hit will fall from $40 to $20 million. And if I know Howie, he's already got a verbal agreement with somebody to trade him already. And I'm assuming that somebody, if I'm reading the tea leaves right, would be New England, who I believe would give next year's first for A.J. Brown. So Dallas Goedert, again, coming off a career year, they kept pushing back his timing so that his contract didn't void and didn't void and didn't void, and he never actually became a free agent. I assume his agents talked to people and tried to get a scope on the marketplace. And I guess at age 31, and he has been nicked and knacked and had some injuries, he's missed an average of 4 games a year over the last 5. I'm assuming that people just thought he was more trouble than he was worth for big money at age 31. And all I know as a Cowboy fan is he just haunts me. Every 3rd and 5, and unfortunately his name is Dallas. And they took him 1 pick ahead of our pick in the 2nd round back in 2018. I wanted him at that pick, and now he's remaining an Eagle. And 3rd and 5, it's just like automatic. Jalen Hurts has a deep connection with Dallas Goedert that he has lost with A.J. Brown. A.J. had problems last year off the field, and then on the field in the playoff loss to your 49ers. He dropped 3 big balls, 1 late on a big 3rd down. And I just think he's gone, and I can't believe that Dallas Goedert isn't gone.
I'm with you, Skip. They need Goddard. He led the team in touchdowns last year. He's a weapon for Hurts, but I don't really think this impacted AJ's situation at all. I think AJ was getting shopped before Goddard signed. He's going to get shopped after Goddard signed, man. That bridge is burned. He won out of there.
He does.
And if he leave, I don't think the team, i.e. Hurts and Devontae, Saquon, I don't think them guys mind at all anyway. You know what I'm saying? They might be good friends with him, but a team player is a team player. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that bridge is burnt. You said it. Once that cap hit comes down, AJ will be out of there, man. So I don't really think this situation played a major part. AJ just need a change of scenery. Sometimes you get a change of scenery and you show your best. Kind of like what he did, left Tennessee, came to Philly, and he was his best.
Yeah.
So I think he's still productive, 28 years old.
Agreed.
1,000 yards, 6 out of his last 7 years. Man, this guy's still a one-on-one winner. And whoever ends up with AJ, they gonna get his best. He gonna have a damn good season because it's one of them years. You want to prove a point. You want to, y'all traded me, y'all cut me, or whatever y'all gonna do. Y'all traded me. You want to prove that point. So we gonna see a damn good AJ this year, but it won't be in the Eagles uniform.
Okay, but don't you think that Howie and Jalen would have more peace of mind keeping Dallas Goedert, knowing that AJ was gone?
I think they definitely want to keep the weapons, let alone your touchdown leader. But if they did lose Goddard, if it was a player out there who would have came and got Goddard, AJ was still gone. They'd just have to make do with what they got. Maybe they would win and got a Joku. They would have just, Howie would have did what Howie do, and he would have filled that gap. You know what I'm saying? They want to keep Goddard. He know the system, or it's probably going to be a new system this year. But regardless of what would have happened with Goddard, AJ was gone. He's gone. He's out the door.
Where do you see AJ landing? He could be a Bronco, right?
Denver. I think we're going to play. I think we definitely going to play in that game. I don't think it's just automatic New England. I think we'll be a player in that.
Would you give a first for him?
Yeah, I think they'll give a first for him. They got a young enough, a good enough roster where they can expend that 2027 first round pick.
Yeah, I mean, earlier in this period, postseason period, I was like, for sure he out the door. But I'm not quite so sure now, man. I think Howie just gives him a little bit more time to play and think about even bringing him back. You know, here's some more offers. You know, see what's going to happen with the draft. Now, if they do obviously draft a receiver in the first 2 rounds, and most likely he's gone. But, you know, freeing up all that space by signing Goddard, and then if you keep AJ, frees up even more space. Now you got 25 to 30 million to go get even more players. So I feel like it's almost a play to keep him. Like, okay, we got our core, we bringing Goddard back. You know, we had a down season last year. There was some, you know, bickering and back and forth between the quarterback and A.J. Brown. Let's see if we can mend that. Let's see if we can mend this relationship between our guys that we have right here in this locker room. And then have more money to get better players around them, fix a couple holes that we let go in free agency on defense. We signed Tariq Woolen, which was a big signing for us. Let's see if we could fix this hole at safety with Reed Blankenship and maybe another pass rusher on the edge. So, man, I thought the proof was in the pudding before this, but now I'm not so sure, man. I think they might even keep A.J. Brown.
Even after the 49er game. You know what
Even
happened?
after the 49er game was, see, now, those were a couple drops. Now, you say if he catch those rocks, they advance, right? So it's looking at situations like that. We have a couple uncharacteristic drops from one of the best receivers in this league. Does that happen 2 years in a row? I'm not sure. Can we get Hurts and him on the same page and say, hey, we have a championship window right here. You guys get together. I don't go in that closet for an hour, box it out or talk it out. But let's get this together. Let's right this ship. Because we all know
have tried. I mean, at least what we've seen on the outside. They've been trying to make that relationship. It's not going well, though.
Yeah, I don't think it was the drops that's going to have them on the move.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's the locker room vibe, bud. We know that.
Yeah.
If it's a guy who he think he's bigger than the program, bruh, hey, you slowly but surely start to turn the guys against you.
And that's
you know
exactly how I was feeling, though, too. Like, yeah, man, but sometimes money talks louder than, you know, some relationships, that buck.
Well, he makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
He makes $32 million a year.
Yeah, he does. First off, I love the move to make sure you keep Dallas Goedert and Philly, you know, first from a financial standpoint. Obviously, they avoid that $20 million cap hit. The dead cap hit, that would have happened today, by the way. They kept pushing that back. If they didn't come to a deal by this Monday, then they would have taken that dead cap hit. But the other reason I love it is because of his production on the field. He's coming off of career highs in receptions and touchdowns. He had 60 catches last year, 591 yards, and 11 touchdown receptions. That was first amongst tight ends, and that was second in the entire league, only behind Devontae Adams.
By the way, 10 of those were in the red zone.
They were.
So when Jalen needs it, he knows where
Big
he's
weapon
go.
for him.
He's a red zone threat,
been
but he also did it on an offense that struggled last year throwing the football. They were 23rd in passing offense, but still Goddard had a big year. I think he's going to build off of that production and be a staple for their offense next year because remember, they're bringing in Sean Mannion, who's a first-time offensive coordinator, but he comes from the Shanahan and McVay coaching tree.
Yep.
That is an offense that relies heavily with their scheme on the tight ends, both in the run game and the pass game. So I think that was a great move by Philly to keep him there, give their first-time play caller some stability at that position and give him a playmaker at tight end. Now, when it comes to the A.J. Brown situation, I have always been on the side of Philadelphia keeping him at least for one more year, but this does make it a little bit more interesting. By making this move, they free up some cap space this offseason if they do want to move on from A.J. Brown, because remember, they signed him to an extension back in 2024, so he's with the team through 2029. If they were to trade him before June 1st, they would take a $43 million cap hit. If they did it after June 1st, and it would be split up over the next 2 years, they'd take $17 million as a dead cap hit this year. So basically, neither one of those is ideal, but Howie Roseman has proved before that he's not afraid to deal with dead salary cap. But at the same time, if they want to make the move even before June 1st, they now can do that. I still don't think they should. I'm with TJ. I would love to see A.J. Brown come back for another year since he got to Philly in 2022. He's had a ton of production, had 1,000 yards receiving every single year, has 32 touchdowns, multiple Pro Bowls. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been instrumental to their success on offense. They just fired Kevin Patullo in the offseason, basically saying that was the problem. Now you're about to run a scheme that I think he can excel in, both as you know, a catcher and blocking in that offense. So I really think if they give it one more shot in 2026, A.J. Brown can help them reach that next level on the offensive side of the ball, and I'd love to see him in Philadelphia for another season.
Okay, but A.J. was on the live stream and called the offense a shit show.
Well,
he
Skip
took
and-
several shots at his quarterback, saying
Several.
that it was his fault. And then he posted that weird biblical reference about when one town rejects you, you just dust off your feet and move to the next town, okay? And so it's clear he wants out. That's why it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You know, I think most in the locker room, if you had an anonymous vote, they would vote for him to be out of the locker room.
I agree.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: this cap hit?
Yeah.
Like, who has this affected? Like, I never seen a team just like, oh, we trash because we just took a cap hit. Like, I seen the Broncos shake back from the worst cap hit ever in 2 years like this.
Yeah.
The team get better in the process. So, man, I think that cap hit shit is smoke and mirrors, bro. It's the rules. Yeah, we got to stay within this, but man, it's so many ways to clean up your cap. If you got guys you know gonna be there, you could re-sign them, restructure, and you could just clean it up so easily. To me, that's why I don't think Goddard there or Goddard not there. They take the cap hit. It is what's best for the team.
Okay, but wait a second. Just real quick. You said the Broncos just cleaned it up in 2 years.
I was going to say,
okay,
it was the
but
worst we ever been.
You didn't do anything. You did nothing in free agency. Zero.
But
You
we could
spent
have
zero.
though. But we could have though.
I don't know.
It's not. We did not do nothing because we couldn't. We didn't do nothing because shit. We just ain't. I mean, whatever reason.
Because you're that good.
I mean, we was good. I mean, we was a top 4 team. That's pretty damn good if you ask me. But it's not like we didn't do anything because our cap is just tight and we can't do anything. That's not why we didn't do anything. We had money to do some shit if we wanted to. So, I mean, the cap hit, man, it's a billionaire's game, man. I mean, it's cap hit. I could clean that shit up like this.
For teams with good rosters, it's really not that big of a deal. It's the teams that take on dead cap hit after dead cap hit who don't have good rosters and they need to build off of that. That's why they're bad for a long time.
Right.
Is because they're in salary cap hell. That is a
And that's
factor.
not the Eagles,
It's
right?
not the Eagles.
Yeah,
It's not
they
the
don't
Eagles.
give a damn about that cap.
Yeah.
No, and
Goddard there or Goddard not there, AJ, you're gone.
in reality, the Eagles, the last 5 years have been, I think 4 of the last 5 years actually been top 5 in dead salary cap space and still have won a Super Bowl
Exactly.
and had a ton of
That's what I'm
success.
saying. So it's all
I hear
smoke
your
and mirrors,
argument,
bro.
but I just think, and to your point, Skip, I get it. I know there's distractions off the field. It's just hard to find the production level
how
of
he
A.J.
said
Brown. There's
that
not a
in
lot of A.J. Browns out there
in
who
his
just goes.
year-end message to the media, he said it's just hard to find an A.J. Brown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're
It
talking
is.
about the draft. I like a lot of these guys in the draft. Mekhi, Lemon, Tate. I don't think those guys will be there towards
Okay,
the end. But Denzel Boston, some of those other
Denzel,
guys.
I
think
love Denzel
guys were
Boston.
mentioned.
He's cold.
But are you going to get the
Big
same
body.
production
Notre Dame.
from A.J. Brown?
Boston.
Are you going to get the same production from that guy that you get from A.J. Brown? Draft picks are question marks. You have a guy on your roster right now, even with the distractions, that's proven that he can make big-time plays on your offense. I think last year a big factor of that was more on Patullo than it was Jalen Hurts.
you
Maybe
were all
Jalen
over
Hurts
it.
Yeah,
caught
you've been saying
some
that.
of those comments as well, but I think A.J. Brown was not happy with the creativity on offense, with the pass game, with the route concepts, with the way that they ran the RPO system. They weren't utilizing his talent. That's why at the end of the year they said, all right, let's get rid of Patullo. Let's bring in Sean Mannion. Let's run this McVay-Shanahan type of offense. We need 2 legit wide receivers to run it. We have Devontae Smith, we have A.J. Brown, you got a tight end in Goddard. I think if they give him one more year, he could excel in this offense. I don't think that would be a bad idea for them to keep him. And then if it goes bad again this year with a new offensive coordinator, with all these things, we're giving you every chance. All right, let's move on.
Okay, I've told Aqib this, and we talked about it a little bit off the air, but AJ and Jalen fell apart 2 years ago over a personal issue. And the weird part about it was that in AJ's first year in Philadelphia, Jalen made him the godfather of his child. And yet this was so bad off the field that I thought they had just sort of decided to peacefully coexist last year. And then the deeper we got in the year, the more it looked like they're just, I don't know if they don't like each other, but it puts so much pressure on Jalen. Sometimes he's forcing the ball to AJ when he is covered.
Right.
And sometimes he's not throwing it to him because he just doesn't like throwing to him when he's not covered. And once you lose your wavelength with the receiver, as you well know, then it's just trouble. It's like it felt troubled to me the whole year. And I don't care how good he is in and of himself, if he has no connection, no wavelength with the quarterback, it just doesn't matter anymore.
Well, you said, okay, so 2 years ago they had that issue. What did they do 2 years ago? They won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They've had issues before. He's
Well,
had over
he
1,000
It just got
yards.
worse and worse. Now you
Yeah.
see
Still had 1,000
Jalen
yards
Hurts
left.
giving a
1,000 yards.
speech and AJ in the background laughing. You see, so it comes to a point, bro, where it's like these two egos are just not meshing. You know what I'm saying? We gonna have to pick. Am I gonna pick A.J. Brown or am I gonna pick my quarterback? Like it comes to a point in time now. Like you said, while they winning Super Bowls and they playing in Super Bowls, we can deal with it. But the moment we lose in this divisional or we don't go to the playoffs, all right, here we go. It's just time to move on, bro. Howie is a great GM. He's never late. You know what I'm saying? You let him stay this year.
Late.
He's never late, bro. He gonna get on top
early.
of it early and watch how he replace him. He gonna make another major move and have another Devontae, you the number one. Look at my new number two with Dallas Goedert, with Sean Mayon's offense. And the Eagles they're gonna be right back just like this.
And you guys have both talked about on the show so many times. When you guys won a Super Bowl, it was about the locker room, the field.
It is.
That's everything.
That's
Because
everything.
This is the NFL. These guys, everybody's good. Yeah.
Yep.
Are you going to connect as a team to win a Super Bowl? So obviously that hasn't happening.
And you've said it before that you said, hey, A.J. Brown, the diva wide receivers, dap them up. Let's talk in the offseason. Let's get back to it. You think it's past that point now?
Yeah, it's that point why we're winning. The moment
they won the division and still went to the playoffs. We're not talking about a team that went 7-9 last year.
We talking about a high standard. We talking about once you live in that Super Bowl, once you become the Chiefs and the Eagles, them standards change. You know what I'm saying? We got high standards.
It ain't no room for AJ to take responsibility for them not advancing in that divisional round.
He was a big
Maybe
he was a
you
big
sit
part
down
of it.
and be like, yo, look, shit, I could look at myself in the mirror and say why we didn't end up in the Super Bowl this year.
But instead, he's still on shows playing around.
And
wanna go to the
he wants
Patriots?
to get traded.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, you can't be doing all that.
You doing too much.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate.
You talking about him? All right, you're right, man. I need to be better. But no, he's on the show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hitting that, I'm out of here. So come on, bro.
Yeah.
The
Doesn't
bridge
seem like
is
he wants
burned.
to be there. Why would he all of a sudden become the bigger man
That
if
is
he doesn't
correct.
want to be there?
And for TJ and Cody, just for the record, if you look at AJ's production over the last 3 years, it's slipped each year. It's not because he's gotten worse. That connection has gotten worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Just a little bit, and a little bit.
But also,
O-line
they've
works.
changed offensive coordinators.
Okay.
The offense. I mean,
You
last
blame it
year
on that coordinator all you want.
But last year my point is they returned 10 of 11 starters from the year before. The year that they won the Super Bowl, the production dropped off significantly. Even that year that they were with Kellen
You
Moore,
were all over
Super Bowl.
Petullo from the first.
And look, again, I'm not sitting here. I don't want to sit here and shit on Petullo the whole segment. That's not what I'm trying to do.
But
just
you
watching the
correctly
film,
did.
I just think
You have all year, Cody.
there's so
What
much
you're
more.
saying is,
I think there's so much more in the tank with the playmakers they have right now, including A.J. Brown, that they can get out of this offense that they didn't get last year, that we've seen before. Even if the pass game isn't top 5 in the NFL, they can still get to top 15, top 10, and then lean back on the run game again with Saquon Barkley. I think Sean Mannion, even though he's unproven with this scheme, can get him there.
Now,
you
I'll
hit
tell
it.
you
You
one thing
gotta be
about
able to
this
run the
scheme.
ball.
One thing about this scheme, bro, you don't need 2 stars, bro. You don't need 2 stars, bro. You see Jennings, you see Robinson, you see all kind of guys in San Fran pop in and go crazy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, bro, you don't need 2 stars.
Yeah.
I seen nothing against my dog Robert Woods.
The
He
Eagles
cold.
could get
Robert
that.
Woods come in look like a number 1, a top 10 receiver in this system. Like
Yeah.
you just go around the teams and the teams who run this offense and look at their wideouts, bro.
Yeah.
You don't need 2 big
but I know what
stars.
one thing
It's
that
the
makes
system
that
make you go crazy.
scheme work is being able to run the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if they can't
they
run the
can't-
ball,
yeah.
ain't nobody gonna be successful. And A.J. Brown, he not, he ain't Jerry Rice, he ain't Chris Carter, somebody that's
but Larry
he
Fitzgerald.
up top.
But to your
Give me
point,
a play action and I'm up
and
top.
obviously,
If
that
that don't work.
They got Kittle, they got CMC, but look at the offenses that do have star receivers in that system this year with Kubiak in Seattle. You had
Yeah.
JSN. Cooper Kupp is somewhat of a star, but you get Rashid Shaheed, so you got 2 number 2 options. The Rams
He didn't do
with,
much
with
this
Adams and Puka Nacua. Even before that, when Cooper Kupp was there with Puka Nacua, I mean, when you have 2 top-tier wide receivers in this scheme, it just makes it that much better.
And guess what? With all the the similarities with everybody you just named, they had 2 backs that was toting the ball.
Yeah, that's the scheme right there.
That's the scheme.
It's the outside zone. It put them corners, it put them safeties in the bond. And that's the scheme right there, bro.
Okay, what else did Howie do that went under the radar? He signed a tight end I wasn't very familiar with named Johnny Munt, who's nothing but a blocking tight end for Saquon.
Yeah.
Because Dallas Goedert doesn't block
Johnny
anybody.
Munt.
Okay.
I was in L.A. with Johnny Munt.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Really?
OG in the game.
How do you
You
feel
know
about
he
him?
could block.
Oh, he's a blocking tight end.
He's
Like,
a blocking
that's what he
tight
do.
end. And then Cody, you know college football. So am I wrong about how loaded this first round could be
No.
with receivers? Because your guy from USC, Mekhi
Lemon.
he'll go high. And Jordan Tyson will go high and Carnell Tate will go high.
Yeah.
But by 23, Zachariah Branch is sitting there.
He was at SC. I watched him at SC.
Oh, I
Good
forgot
player.
he was there for
And
the
the
first
guy,
2 years.
and the
Watched
guy,
him.
Skip, who is made for this type of offense is Cooper from Indiana.
Okay, well, there's
He's a
another
blocking-
one.
Good
He's
player.
the blocking machine.
He is.
And he a dog.
He's a dog.
That's what you want.
he is a
That's why
dog.
Cooper Kupp and Puka and them is so good, because they dogs. When he's coming to crack, that safety got to take his eyes and put them on him. It ain't just, I just feel, it ain't none of this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You got to really, oh, shit. And then, whoop, it's a cutback. Then it's a fake block.
Or he might run right by you.
Oh, that's
'cause
what I'm
he's
saying.
trying to
That's a
beat the
fake block.
Wow.
He run right by you. So it's the better blocker it is in that system at a receiver, the better that offense going to work.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if AJ at 28, about to be 29, I'm 1,000 yards every year. Jack, do I really want to block like that?
I mean, I love him.
Do I?
He's one of my favorite receivers, Devontae Smith. But you think this Devontae Smith's going to be willing to go in the
But
C gap?
Devontae
Yeah, play a
Smith's not going to be
different
the Z.
position.
He's
Yeah.
not going to be the Z. He's going to be the X. You go out there.
So you're
you
expecting
go out
one
there
of
and
these
play.
rookies.
You go play Devontae Adams' role. You know what I'm saying? We need somebody to do the Cooper Kupp, the Puka, the
Yeah.
insert, and the over routes. We need somebody to do that.
Man, I think AJ could ball.
He
in that
probably
system.
could,
I
but
think
do he want
could.
to though?
Yeah.
Man, get me out of here. Let me go be the X, man. I ain't trying to be the Z and do all this shit.
All right, the guys are disagreeing on what's going to happen with A.J. Brown and the Eagles, but we're going to find out. But I want to talk about some Super Bowl favorites, okay? Obviously, I know we're really early on this, but right now, the two Super Bowl favorites for next year are the Rams and the Seahawks. Two teams, obviously, we saw battle all year long, incredible teams. But the Rams went out and I feel like kind of won free agency.
Oh,
they really
yeah?
strapped down that secondary. And then you got the Seahawks, who really lost some big names. They lost Kenneth Walker. They lost Reek Woolen. So, Cody, who should be the favorite for next Super Bowl, the Seahawks or the Rams?
So this one's
Surprise
tough.
us, Cody.
This one's tough.
I don't know what you're going to say.
There's no surprises. But this one's tough, man. I think the Rams are going to be even more dangerous next year than they were this past season. They went out and got Trent McDuffie. They got Jalen Watson. They addressed the cornerback position they need. Obviously, they bring back Matthew Stafford, who just won MVP last year as well. So I think the Rams are going to be really good, but I am still going to be riding with the Seahawks. I think even though they lost some guys in free agency, they lost some key players, they still return a lot of talent from last year's Super Bowl team on both sides of the ball. Defensively, they bring back multiple guys from that dark side defense. They got Leonard Williams up front. They got Uchenna Nwosu, my former teammate who had a touchdown in the Super Bowl. They got DeMarcus Lawrence coming back. Riley Mills, keep an eye on him. I really like him. He made some splash plays in the Super Bowl. He's a young player that's getting better. They bring back their leader at linebacker in Ernest Jones. He played a big role last year on that defense. I know they lost Tariq Woolen, but I still think they have one of the best secondaries in the NFL right now with Witherspoon. Julian Love had a pick in the Super Bowl. Josh Jobe, they just re-signed him. And then a guy that I think is going to be a difference maker for a long time is Nicky Manwari. He is just going to be so good. He's a young player. He's going to keep developing. You can put him at nickel. You can move him at safety sometimes in some of these dime looks. You can put him at so many different spots. And then, of course, they're going to continue to run Mike McDonald's scheme. Then you look at the offensive side of the ball, the weapons they have. JSN, arguably the best receiver in football last year, had 119 catches, 1,800 yards, 10 touchdowns, won Offensive Player of the Year. Cooper Kupp had some injuries, but still reminded everybody that I'm still a damn good number 2 wide receiver, and I can still play in this league. A.J. Barner had some big-time plays at tight end. I love, too, that they signed Rashid Shaheed, losing Kenneth Walker, losing Woolen, losing some of these guys. They made up for it by signing Rashid Shaheed. He adds a different element to that offense. Now you force the defense to cover all 3 levels with his speed. So I really like that. And then obviously Sam Darnold's my guy. And you guys know how I feel about him.
Well, isn't that the bottom line to this? It's just all about.
Get past all that
Without Sam
bullshit.
Darnold,
They got
they'd be
Sam, they
nothing.
good.
No. I will say this, though, about Sam, Skip, and I think it's important to note. I think Sam Darnold is now going into his prime. I think he's going to be entering his
I'll
prime
buy
right now.
that.
I think he's going to build off of what happened last year, both from a performance standpoint, but also from the mental side of things. I think he has a new set, or a new mindset and some new confidence that he didn't have in prior years, because after that Week 11 game where he threw 4 interceptions against the Rams at SoFi Stadium and they lost, he went on to throw 13 touchdowns and 4 interceptions the rest of the season, and he threw for 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks in the NFC Championship game, and went toe-to-toe with Matthew Stafford and won. That's going to help him going forward. I think he builds off of that. And then the X factor for me really with this football team, it isn't Sam Darnold, It's the guy that's running the entire show. It's Mike McDonald at the top, man. What he's done the last 2 years since he got to Seattle has been unbelievable. He's won 27 games, 15-2 on the road. As a young coach is highly impressive. He won the NFC West last year and beat out Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and then they won a Super Bowl in his second year. I really think the Seahawks are built for longevity. I like the Rams. They're going to be dangerous next year, but I still think the Seahawks are slightly ahead of the Rams going into
So Cody
the season.
shouldn't work for Underdog. He should work for the Seahawks in
Seahawks.
PR.
Right? PR, man.
No,
Get him a T-shirt.
But you
Hey.
know what, Cody? Those were some excellent
Get him
points.
a t-shirt.
You made some excellent
Hey,
points.
Cody, I feel you, brother.
Yeah, that was some. Those were some.
All
good
right.
points.
I work for Underdog because I can make a case.
You can make
some
a case
of
for
these
anybody.
topics.
Lee, what do you got?
Simple as this. The Seahawks has downgraded. They downgraded, man. You lose your Super Bowl MVP. You lose your number 2 corner. You lose your best safety. You lose your play caller, your best play caller. I mean, Mike McDaniel, cool. We can go back and forth. But I'm going to put cool best, they best play caller.
Yeah.
I'm just imagine us, bud. We win the Super Bowl, right? They lose Mafe, an edge. One of their good edges, right?
He's a good player.
He's a good player. All right, so let's just say, boom, we win the Super Bowl, right? After the Super Bowl, we lose our Super Bowl MVP and the edge. We lose Von. We lose our number 2 corner. We lose Chris. We lose TJ Ward, our best safety. And we lose our best play caller, Wade Phillips. Are we the same team? We are not the same team if we lose those key pieces. They lost key pieces, man. Then you look at the Rams. They upgraded. They signed Cam Curl, they best safety. Then they bring in 2 big-time corners, 2 big-time starters. One of them probably a top 10 corner in the NFL. They fill holes that they definitely needed to fill. So, man, it's a year-to-year league, man. One team I feel like got better. One team downgraded just a little bit. And them key spots that you downgraded, mainly that play caller. Now, I'm not saying a new offensive coordinator won't come in and cook. We don't know. But I don't think he'll be better than Koob. I don't think he'll cook like Koob did.
Yeah. And look, I don't want to downplay that because that is a big factor. That's a significant loss. But they did bring in Brian Fleury, who has spent the last 7 seasons with the San Francisco 49ers. So he's been learning under Shanahan. So I think it will be an easy transition. Now, when it comes to play calling, you know this. It's about when to call the right play. It's
when the lights get on, it's different.
Yeah, and you got to always be one step ahead. So that's a big factor in this. I could give all of us the same call sheet. We're all going to call a different game, right? It's about how you go through the play calling sheet or how you make in-game adjustments. But I do think that was a good move by McDonald bringing in Fleury so you keep some continuity with the scheme on offense.
I'm just saying the Rams, they upgrade at key spots.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
The Seahawks downgrade at key spots. Man, it's a year-to-year league, man. If I had to pick right now, the Rams went toe-to-toe with these boys last year in every game. And now they upgrade, y'all downgrade. I got to go with the Rams.
Oh, man, y'all both great points. But I think the difference between that point you made about us and the Seahawks is the Seahawks are replacing these guys with guys that's already on the roster. And obviously they have faith in those replacements. Guys, Josh Jobe come in and you talk about Julian Love, Emin Worry. Kobe Bryant, hell of a player. Reek Woolen, hell of a player at times, but he has his lapses. But then when you look at the core, I like to look at the defense and the core of that defense, the guys that are in the middle, when I'm say the core, the Leonard Williams, the Witherspoon at nickel, Ernest Jones, the fourth, big play middle linebacker. Who else? Byron Murphy in there stopping the run. Those guys are still there. Now they got a late first round draft 32 and a late second round. So I feel like the safety position they could look at to do something there. But overall, they're rebuilding or replacing with guys in-house. When you do that, you don't have to reteach the system. Mike McDaniel, head coach, D coordinator, calling on the plays. He sees something in these guys in order for him to let go of some of these other guys. Now, offensively, you do miss Cool, which is going to be a huge blow for him. That's going to be a huge blow. You missing your MVP. JSN, he's coming back. You keep Rashid coming back. He's going to be a bigger factor on offense, I believe, this year. Charbonnet, he's going to be replacing Walker. You might go pick up another running back for some depth. So everybody that they are losing, I don't feel is a downgrade necessarily as much as a replacement player. So, and you mentioned Mafe, Derek Hall, he's coming in and replacing him. He had 2 sacks in the Super Bowl or one or two, but he had a sack in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, sack fumble too, I think.
Exactly, big play guy to replace him. So It's not like you're going to get these guys off the street, new guys into the system. They're a guy that's already in-house. It's like in college, bringing a junior growing into his senior year. He's going to be a better player next year. He's going to improve. He's learned a little bit more time. He's just being replaced. Now, when I look at the Rams, we talk about retaining guys, right? They signed Quentin Lake back, which his season was up and down.
They retained everybody.
He retained a lot, but are these retainers that are going to help you succeed? And we talk about the middle of that defense, man. Lake Landman. Landman.
Yeah.
He's pretty good against the run, but he's very vulnerable against the pass. The other linebacker, Spates, very vulnerable against the pass. I think they were like 63rd and 72nd in pass grade on PFF.
But
that's
the Rams
not very
also had
good at
2
linebacker.
first-round draft picks.
Well, are they going to address both middle linebackers?
They can fill those spots.
The Rams had a pretty good defense. I remember going into some of these games, we looking at their defense. They was matching up well. They kind of fell off late in the year, and I think it was due to their corners.
What they bread and butter is you look at the receivers, right? Devontae went down with a hammy. He getting older in age. Are they going to have to go get another receiver? Is he going to be cool with that hammy? You know how once that
There's
hammy
some
goes
talks
once,
about them not
It's
keeping
Sean
hammy
McVay's
go twice.
system, baby. Hey.
but when they lost him, you seen what
But
happened.
I ain't see nothing. I saw them getting buckets without him. The next guy, if that's what I should have did last night. I should have went and looked at who played when Devontae was out and what he did. I guarantee you he went crazy. He put up numbers, bro, because it's the system, bro.
I don't know who he was. Couldn't have been going too crazy because we don't know who he was.
You see Kinsey over there
Yeah,
talking, she about to tell you.
Please tell me. Please
I
tell
know
me.
they
about to
had-
tell you.
Who was their third? I thought Tutu
Tutu
Atwell
Atwell
was there. I don't know if he
Tutu gone.
Tutu Atwell was there.
Yeah.
You know what they did, honestly, though, is the versatility.
tight
they
end,
had in that
13.
scheme. We're just going to go 13
They did go
We're
personnel.
going to go
13.
13.
And still run and throw
Let
it.
Parkinson
They did
go
go
crazy.
13.
You know what I'm saying? He catching back shoulder
Yeah.
tubs.
Let's make our tight end wide receiver
I'm
number
telling
2.
you,
But
man.
I think they correct. They got 2 good corners on the outside. They did do that. But it's the middle of that deal. Who is they D tackle? Right? Ty Hamilton. We gonna see, man. That middle of that defense, to your safety, to your middle linebacker, to your D tackle. If they not stout in there, I see them getting taken advantage of. You better score 50 points a game.
I'm with Aqib on this. It's very simple. No team fixed a glaring weakness as sensationally as Les Snead said, watch this and watch this. And he went boom and he went boom. And he not only goes and gets Trent McDuffie, but he made him the highest paid corner ever. And then he goes and gets Jalen Watson, and that was 3 years, $51 million. So they're spending a bunch of money on 2 corners who are way, way, way better than what they had last year when that man over there correctly said maybe a third into the year, Rams corners are trash. They were trash. They were trash before the first Seattle game, and they were trash after the NFC Championship game. So obviously I gave your man Sam Darnold his due. I'm not going to call him the nickname anymore that I called him all last year, but I still don't completely believe in him. And all of a sudden, this got fixed. Look what he did. Okay, so here's the difference in those. Aqib mentioned this, but these 2 teams played 3 games. And the Rams won by 2, and they lost by 1, and they lost by 4. So it's Seattle by plus 3 points over 3 games.
Yeah.
That's how
Dog
close. It is a dog fight. It is 50-50, even Steven level playing field with trash corners on one side. And Sam Darnold saying, wait a second, my guy's, he's open, and I can do this. I feel way better. I throw 4 interceptions in the first game, but he threw for 270 yards in the game at SoFi and was 34-44. And then he throws for, that was 279, then 270, and then in the NFC Championship game, he throws for 346. And he completes 67% of his passes against trash corners of the Rams in those 3 games. Well, that just changed overnight. It just went boom, boom. And next year, he's just going to be looking at like, damn, there's no separation anymore because they got 2 corners who are going to lock down on JSN and Shaheed or whoever, Cooper Kupp, whoever it is.
Y'all acting like
don't
them
think
2
Jason's
corners
gonna
coming
create
in like
separation?
they ain't prime Deion Sanders. The Chiefs, they had them 2 corners last year and missed the playoffs.
Yeah, but
So
they're
I mean,
really good.
they
Yeah,
good. They good corner.
Chiefs had a good defense.
Yeah,
They did.
like-
JSN's getting open, though, Skip.
Yeah,
He's still getting
exactly.
open.
He's still a number 1.
Yeah.
And Rasheed gonna take the top off.
Yeah.
Okay, but
She had like
my
10
God,
catches.
the Rams
Well, he
already
wasn't in the
had.
system because he didn't have an offseason.
He got there
right?
halfway.
You gotta get the offseason, come
Okay,
in, get
Go ahead,
the
Skip.
Rams had the #1 offense. That's,
They did.
Okay, so that's in place because Matt Stafford won the award at the
Yep.
honors on Thursday night, and he said, "I'll see you next year." And it was like, "Whoa!"
They bringing
okay.
back that #1 offense.
Yeah.
Minus Tutu.
minus 2-2.
They bringing
okay?
everybody else
Which, by
back.
the way, he did nothing when Devontae
Yeah.
was out. Tutu did nothing.
Okay.
So, and it was also Kenote Mumpfield, but also he did
Munfield
nothing.
and
So-
Xavier Smith. I see one
But
game against
Nakua
Seattle.
just took all the
Seattle,
targets. He
one
did.
in
Yeah,
Seattle.
they combined for 5 catches, 97 yards. Munfield and Xavier
Puka
Smith.
went for
But this is what I
250.
tell you.
Yeah,
Fifth,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Puka went
All
for
5 catches,
250.
97 yards from the replacement. You know
And,
what I'm saying?
and remember, they kept Tyler Higbee, which was a huge. I
Yeah.
thought they were going
Yeah.
to lose him.
Huge.
Okay.
That
I'm
was
gonna tell
a
you
key
one
part
thing.
right
you
there.
got this. You got all the offense is tremendous. It's all, but they damn near lost that round to the Panthers. They lost 2 close ones to Seattle. So all this barely winning, it ain't no barely winning. You either won or you lost. And what was the manner in which you lost?
They lost in the NFC Chip.
Yeah,
And with the
you
Panthers
lost at
game, I
home.
mean, it was rain. It was an off day.
It wasn't raining the second game.
True.
Yeah, they lost.
Them corners was
Thank
getting
you,
hit.
Kinsey. They got their ass whooped earlier in the season. Damn near lost. If it wasn't
Yeah.
for the drop pick in the end zone from my dog from the Carolina, that would have been Matt Stafford's going home.
It wasn't for
He just
Puka. That was
dropped the ball.
They had-
you say the drop
Panthers
pick.
were the
I say
kryptonite
it was the
for sure.
Puka max
Yeah,
effort.
well,
Get out of here. No, we
Tomato,
ain't going home.
tomato,
Yeah.
So
The type of guys
man,
they
them
got over
corners
there.
better come in and be Mel Blunt and Rod Woodson.
They
You
gonna
know-
do their thing.
I'm
No, the
surprised
Ram-
you
the
know
Rams
Mel
are good.
Blunt.
Oh yeah, I grew
Yeah.
up
The
a little
Rams
Steeler
are-
fan, Skip.
Whoa. I mean, Mel Blunt was a bad
Mel
man.
Blunt was
Yeah.
beating people up at that line of scrimmage.
Yeah. No, and like, we're talking about 2 powerhouse here. This isn't
Yeah.
one team's going to dominate the other. I think both teams are going to.
Yeah.
Nah,
Don't
no
forget
doubt.
about the 49ers, too. If they're healthy next year,
Cody,
the NFC West, most likely who wins that division will probably go to the Super Bowl for the NFC. So, yeah, no, and I picked the Rams last week on our show.
Yeah,
I said they won free
plan.
agency. I thought they
Yeah.
addressed exactly the positional needs they needed to address. But, yeah, I'm still riding with Seattle, but it's going to be neck and neck. It's going to
But
be
it's
a really
just
fun
because
division.
you love Sam. I mean,
I
you
I
played
know.
with him.
You know what? And I'll say this, Skip. I love Sam. He's one of my close friends, but I like Mike McDonald and what he's building there, the
Okay.
leadership they have more than Sam Darnold and the pieces on that roster. I mean, you know, they've got great players, but none of that matters if you don't have great leadership at the top. And what Mike McDonald's been able to do the last 2 years, he was hired at 36 years old. There was a lot of questions around him.
Yeah.
And since then, he's just dominated. 15 wins on the road in the last 2 years as a young first-time head coach. That's something special.
But
and they're
can you do
continuing
that
to build.
without Clint Kubiak? So you would choose him over Sean McVay as a coach?
I think just
Of course
how
not.
long
You're a
they've been
quarterback.
proven, I would
Yeah.
go probably Sean McVay because I would want to play with Sean McVay and have him call plays for me.
100%.
But yeah, I think I'd
Okay,
be
more
100%
valuable
rather
coach
run.
in Seattle, the head coach or the offensive coordinator who's no longer there?
Head coach.
Yeah. You think so? Head coach over Clint
I mean, we're
Kubiak?
going to see.
You're
what
saying who's more
Kubiak
important?
does
Yeah,
now,
more
but-
value.
Oh, head coach.
By far?
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know about by far, but yeah, head coach for sure. But like I said, they're bringing in the Flory from San Francisco. I know he's never been a play caller before, but he's been in that system. He's been in that scheme. I promise you this offseason, he's going to sit down with Sam Darnold. He's going to sit down with JSN. He's going to sit down with the guys up front and say, hey, what worked, what didn't? How can we build this scheme off of what you guys did well last year and try to keep as much continuity as possible?
Right, it won't change much.
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
Same
but the
system.
key to the Seattle Super Bowl run
They go.
was after Sam threw
He gonna
4
change his
interceptions
lingo.
at SoFi.
This is the first 15 from last year.
Clint Kubiak somehow got him back
Yeah.
in rhythm,
Yeah.
right?
He's on a run.
He did.
Yeah.
And if there's a new voice in your ear and you don't completely trust the new guy, you don't vibe with him, sometimes the quarterback can unravel fast.
Well, who's the OC in Minnesota? Because Sam Darnold did his thing there too.
Well, it's
Kevin
the
O'Connell.
head coach.
Kevin O'Connell
Yeah,
calls
yeah,
the
O'Connell.
plays.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Same system,
yeah.
though.
Same system.
Same
though.
system.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm
So I think
saying.
it'll be all right with whoever they got at the same system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Skip. I think the Rams, they did everything. They retained all their guys, and then they filled the pieces that need to be filled. And you cannot doubt Sean McVay, right? Sean McVay.
No, you can't.
So, but I do want to look at on a wider scale because those are the favorites. But I know it's really early, guys. I want to get Super Bowl picks from you guys. Probably going to change over the years, and that's okay. But if I ask you right now, who's going to be your Super Bowl matchup and winner? I need to know. Lee?
Mine not changing. I tell you that. With September the 11th or whenever the season start, my picks is gonna be the same.
Okay, I already know who you're going to say.
But you damn right you know who I'm gonna say.
It's going to be the Rams and the Broncos.
Not the Rams and the
Oh.
Broncos.
Oh.
The Eagles and the Broncos.
Okay.
Really?
I think the Eagles shake back. But I think both teams, man, they coming off the Broncos coming off a conference championship loss. Usually those teams don't fare well. But I think that in the manner in which they lost, losing our quarterback, they'll be a little bit different, man. They bringing back that same defense, same D coordinator, a minor tweak on offense. We're going to let the young mind, Davis Webb, call the plays. And we will have an offensive new explosion player on offense. Just know that, Skip. Just remember, I told you that. All right,
Okay.
Skip? It will be a new
Are you saying you
explosion
have
player on offense.
inside information?
I'm just telling you, Skip. It's,
Okay,
you know,
all right.
when it break, just say, oh, yeah, Lee said that. Just
Okay.
know, I do my thing. You know people. I know
So
people. too.
Howie's already got a handshake deal with the Broncos to send AJ to
Nah, I
Denver.
ain't say all that. That's
Yeah.
you. You said that. You know what I'm saying? We will have one, though. Just trust me on that. We will have one.
You need one.
We do. I
You,
think we
you
do.
won 11 one-score games, tying an NFL record.
And the Chiefs did too. And they won.
Skip
the
needs
Super
a shirt that says this.
Bowl. Exactly. And then I think the Eagles, I think they're going to have a new play caller as well. And I think they have a great year on offense in the first year of this Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan system. I think the Eagles look great on offense, much different than last year with this new system. And we know what their defense is going to do, man. You add Reek Woolen, they probably got one of the top secondaries, definitely the top corner tandem in the league with those three
No
guys.
doubt.
Yeah.
So
We'll make it a trio because
yeah,
the
you know
kid's
that's what I'm
pretty
saying.
good. Yeah.
I said tandem. I meant trio.
Yeah, okay.
But you know what the defense gonna do, man. They still got their guys, like you said, right in the middle of that defense, man. We know what they're gonna do. So I think 2 first-year play callers come out and had great debuts. I think they come out and had great debuts. 2 top defenses gonna be had great seasons. 2 top defenses that had great seasons. I think the Broncos defense play a little bit better than the chip, and we come up with the dub.
I don't hate your Philly pick. I don't hate it.
You hate the Broncos?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just
Come on,
silly.
Skip. This is our
Yeah.
3rd year. Look, this would be year 3, maybe year 4 with the same defense, same coordinator. Like, this don't happen.
Don't happen.
That don't happen, man. Come on, man. You let guys like Pat and Benito and Singleton, you let them guys get into year 4 with the same guys, the same communication.
Yeah.
Man,
in this
that's
league,
deadly.
if you snooze, you lose, and you're snoozing now.
We ain't
You're trying to
snoozing.
rest
Right
on your
where we wanna
laurels.
be, baby.
We ain't snoozing.
Yeah.
Hungry ass Bo.
Yeah.
Pissed off Bo. You know.
Bo
A limpy
He got
Bo.
his guy calling the plays now.
Yeah.
You know, I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on the Broncos train. Why would I get off? Why would I get off? Man, like
Committed men.
we bringing everybody back. Like Skip, you always talking about we didn't do nothing in free agency. You don't have to do nothing in free agency when your cupboard is full. Our cupboard
Telling
is
you.
full at key positions, right? We got all the ingredients in house already. Yeah, we could use a little salt here, a little pepper there, but overall we're gonna be good. When you have successful seasons, like Lee said, you don't retain coaches. We got our DC back, we got our OC back, we got our head coach back. Well, our OC was our quarterback's coach, but he back regardless, right? Whole defense coming
Well,
back.
you don't really have your head coach back.
Yes,
It's
we
for
do.
the first time ever, he ain't calling plays.
but he-
Okay, if shit go left,
That's,
he not
that's
gonna
just,
take over.
that's just what it is on paper, Skip. He's heavily involved in these play calls.
Yeah.
But he gonna let Davis Webb do the flow of it. When he say we need to run something, hey, go here.
It's like
all right, bet.
now they like a lethal
tag
weapon.
team.
You know what I'm saying? They like Riggs and Murtaugh now. They gonna be working
You
together.
don't think there's going to be a little.
Not at all. They gonna be great. They did it last year.
They
you got
working
you got
together
Did it
on
last
that.
year.
They partners.
Okay.
But look, you
Lethal
got the
weapon.
whole defense back. You know, Brandon Jones gonna be healthy at safety. PS2, my dog Riley Moss coming back. We gonna miss John Franklin Myers. I'm not gonna lie. He had like 9 sacks inside. So we gonna
But
miss
Big
him.
Roach was a backup.
Yes,
Big Roach
coming
was
back
very
in.
productive.
And I think we may replace another guy, get another guy for that position in the draft. Now, JK coming back. If he can stay healthy, him and RJ, they're gonna be hell of a tandem. They're gonna look like Charbonnet and Walker for the Seahawks. We may get a threat at receiver, but we got some good receivers, right?
We do.
We got Franklin, we got Sutton, we got what was the young receiver name?
I don't
A
remember.
bunch of them.
Rookie?
Franklin.
Yeah,
Brian came on late.
Pat Bryant.
He got hurt. He got
Pat.
concussions, but
Yeah.
he came on late. Good playmaker. Marvin Mims is coming back. Jaquan McMillan is coming back. Them two, offense, defense, Eminem, them is like our jokers, right?
Yeah.
They come in, give you big plays when you need them. play special teams. They really just do it all guys for us, right? So you add that with us losing our quarterback in the AFC Championship game and still almost winning that game. Like, what more do you really need? Like, honestly, what more do you really need? So that's going to match us up with who I thought should have been the Super Bowl this year was the Seahawks. So the Broncos, Seahawks, I talked about me and Cody about all the reasons why the Seahawks would be favorites to win the Super Bowl over the Rams, and that's just favorites across the whole league. Now, the reason I do like them a little bit more than Philly is because they don't have as much drama in-house. You know,
The drama on the way out.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
You don't like
that.
Philly at all, though. You said they coming in last in the East.
Yeah, I did. I said
Yeah,
that.
you-
I said they coming in
Yeah,
last.
so they ain't
I
even
said
going to
they
the
coming in
playoffs. They out of there.
Yeah,
What are you
they
talking
may-
about?
they
You
may
had
not
the
even
Giants
make
in
it.
the
They may
Super
not
Bowl.
make
Yeah.
the playoffs. Right. They may not make
According
the
to
playoffs.
Bub, they not.
They may not make the playoffs.
That's like an 8,
But,
9,
you know,
7, and 7, 10 season.
The Seahawks, man, they got a little bit more depth overall. Defending champs, so you got to keep them on the throne until somebody knock them off. We just did it. Quarterback coming back, receivers coming back, middle of the defense coming back. They could use a tailback to go with Charbonnet. I don't know what they're going to do back there. Barner, tight end, coming back. You know, they just got everything going for them right now. The toughest division in football right now, so it is going to be hard to win that division. But if they do win that division again, they'll be back in the chip playing against my Broncos.
So you got Seattle versus Seattle in the Super Bowl, right?
No. For the NFC, though, obviously I do have Seattle. And look, and I'm glad TJ agrees with me on that, but I know you guys have said before, you know, it's very difficult to repeat. It's difficult to get back. And you guys are both Super Bowl champions, so I have a lot of respect, a ton of respect for your guys' opinions, but I just think that team is built to make another run this year. I mean, John Schneider, Jody Allen, everyone involved in the decision-making process inside that organization has done a great job of hiring the right people, building the roster through trades, through free agency, through the draft. I think they've allowed Seattle with Mike McDonald to be good for a really long time. So I think they get back to the Super Bowl next year. And then from the AFC, I have them playing the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills.
Bills again?
I think the Bills. I'm right. I said Bills last year.
You did say
Preseason.
A man crush.
I'm going with the Bills again, man. I think they will. I think they get back to the Super Bowl for the first time in the last 30 years. They're built on offense to do it. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Josh Allen. They have one of the best running backs in the NFL in James Cook.
Well,
Led
he
the league
led
last
the
year
league in rushing, yeah.
with 1,600 rushing
Yeah.
yards. They've got a really good combo at tight end, which is a matchup nightmare with Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. They've got a solid offensive line, and they just traded for DJ Moore, who I think can be a true number one wide receiver in Buffalo, and I love them paired back up with their play caller and now head coach Joe Brady. Now, defensively, that's where they've got to improve a little bit, and I think they will improve. They lost some key players through free agency. A move that went under the radar, though, that I really liked was them adding Bradley Chubb. I think that's going to help them. He had 8.5 sacks last year, but he was coming off an ACL injury. He had 11 sacks in 2023, so I think they can get that type of production with them. You pair him up with Rousseau, you pair him up with that Oliver up front, I think they'll be better. But a reason I really think they're going to take that next step defensively is because who they hired at defensive coordinator. They went out and got Jim Leonard, who's a 10-year NFL vet. He's been coaching now for 11 years. I know college and NFL are different, and there's a big jump going from that college level to the NFL level, but when he was a defensive coordinator at Wisconsin for 6 seasons, 4 of those years they had a top 10 scoring defense. 5 of those years they had a top 10 rushing defense, and last year that's where the Bills struggled. They were 28th in rushing defense. They were great against the pass. They weren't consistent against the run, so I think that was a big move for them. I like what's happening in Buffalo. I like what's happening in Seattle. I've got both the Bills and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. And I got the Seahawks repeating. I think they'll go 2 in a row.
Repeating?
I
Oh,
do.
Lord.
Wow.
I do.
The Bills,
Sam Darnold, are you watching?
I think the
the
Seahawks.
thing with
was-
that Super Bowl repeat, usually when you win a Super Bowl, you have so much shit go right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how Seattle, like who was injured for Seattle in January, February?
Charbonnet.
No, I get that. Like, yeah, health.
I mean, the backup
availability.
running back.
No,
the
I
backup
get it.
running back was hurt. Oh, whoop-de-doo.
He wasn't
You can't
the
just
backup
assume
running
now
back,
that
though.
they're going to
He's
have
been the
injuries.
backup.
He wasn't.
He was the backup. They was splitting time, but
Yeah,
Kenneth
they was
Walker
splitting time.
started every game. Kenneth Walker was
I feel like
the starter.
Charbonnet had
played
more
good now.
snaps before. he
Charbonnet was
hurt.
a third down back.
Charbonnet's
You know,
cold
Charbonnet
now,
wasn't the
too.
Yeah.
starter, though.
No, he
Charbonnet
wasn't
is
the starter.
cold. I mean,
Kenneth
you
Walker
gotta give
was
him
the
his
starter.
credit. He
So
cold.
January, February, you was missing your backup running back. Like, it's just little stuff like that, man. everything goes
Yes.
so right for you when you win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's just hard to replicate that.
And it looks
man.
like Joey Bosa might be going to the Niners, so the Bills are going to lose them.
Are they gonna have bro and bro?
Bro and bro.
Let's see if they
Looking
can make
like that's
either
the
one of them
rumors
can
right
make it through
now.
a season. Anyway,
What about Big Trent though?
Shaky.
Shaky,
Sounds
yeah,
like-
yeah.
yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think
he-
he's staying.
but
So-
the Bills, they better
They can't
tighten up
let
that
Trent
run
go.
game.
He's old though.
And they
He's,
lost
what,
to Ron
38?
Johnson.
Yeah, but
They did.
he one of them old guys who ain't.
That's why you go
really
get-
old.
I don't think he's going to stay,
No.
unfortunately.
That's why they went and got Jim
He'll
Leonard,
take a
though.
pay cut.
Yeah.
What his
They
defenses
need
have
to.
done,
Yeah, I mean,
stopping the run. I know college against different than the NFL, but I think Leonard is going to help that run defense get a
They
lot
was
better.
31st.
I'm going
Yeah,
to
I
give
was
you
wrong
one point about your
Raiders
Seahawks
yesterday. I told you.
that you didn't bring up.
Wait, hold on.
Damn.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, they wasn't that bad.
Wait, you're about
One
to compliment
point.
the Seahawks, Skip?
One
I got to hear
Oh.
this.
Emmanuel Wilson. They signed him. Every time he touched the ball in Green Bay, I said,
Oh,
"Whoa,
he's a tough runner.
whoa!"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, who is this
Tough
kid?"
runner.
Yeah, and
And
they have second, third round draft pick. They could get, there's some good mid-tier backs, Singleton from Penn State. There's some good backs.
But I think
broke his
Emmanuel
foot.
Wilson will be
Yeah.
a workhorse for him.
They could add some.
Are they the Super Bowl MVP though?
Yeah, that's true.
It was.
He created
It
so
was.
many yards
No,
in the Super
don't-
Bowl by
I
his
don't
damn
disagree.
self.
And run and pass.
Like he did it by
That's what
himself.
really
bro.
was killing the Rams.
He was
They
killing
couldn't
them.
stop. They couldn't stop that man.
couldn't
when-
tackle
man,
him.
look.
All right, my turn.
Yep.
Maybe for the first time in the history of the show, I'm going to agree with Cody on a point. I'm picking the Bills to get to the Super Bowl.
I have,
Oh,
I
Lord.
have the Bills too.
So that was Buffalo blue and not Bronco blue.
Buffalo.
Buffalo Blue.
And enough
got
of this
red.
Bronco hour that
I
we
see it.
have here on
I
the
see it
show
now.
because it's just like lunacy from these two. But the Bills aren't lunacy because every point you made, I second the emotion. And not only do I pick them to get there, I pick them to win it. It just feels like it's going to be their year because I like Joe Brady and I like the new energy he's going to bring as the head coach. Because Sean McDermott was just boring to me. And I think he's a boring pregame speech giver and just he was solid but boring. And they needed new offensive energy. And now Joe Brady's at the controls of the whole football team.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I have always been a big Jim Leonard fan since his days of playing for Rex Ryan in New York, and you like him too. He's just smart, and he's savvy, and he's been doing this for a long time at Wisconsin as well as in pro football, and he's he will make this defense the best it can be. I'm a Bradley Chubb fan, and once upon a time, you guys picked him 5th overall, and then he wound up in Miami for the last 5 years, but I'm with you coming off the ACL. I thought he had a good year with 8.5 sacks. And I like D. Alford that they signed at corner. And I like Geno Stone that they signed once upon a time, your Bengals, at safety. And I especially, Aqib Talib, love
And it got him, huh?
C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
got
He's
that
my
boy.
guy.
Yeah.
Everywhere he goes, good stuff happens. He's got Aqib in him. He's not Aqib Talib, but he's got that thing, that it factor that I can't explain. He just knows
His
how to.
dog.
He just
He's the guy you want on your team, but you hate to
you
play
hate
against.
it. You
Yeah.
hate to play against.
He upped the confidence
Yeah.
of the guys around him.
He
Somehow,
does
some way.
because he just makes plays. He
won't
just
smoke
ball
with everybody.
hawks. He just gets his hands on footballs and turns games around. He was doing it for the Bears last year, and I'm like, there he is. And yet every year he goes to a new place because he drives people crazy, and he finally becomes more trouble than he's worth. And he posted some video the other day about him counting his money or showing his bank account and how much money he's got. Okay, fine.
He's a streamer now.
Yeah, he's a streamer. But
Exit plan.
Skip put him off. Skip didn't like it.
hey, but in the end, the quarterback's just really good, and he played really by his standards poorly at Denver in a playoff game.
Yeah.
And he knows it, and he owes his football team. And we had James Cook on the show, and he is really gifted. He's got the best feet in the league to me between the tackles, this kind of stuff. And
He occasionally has some crucial fumbles. but-
he did have one at Denver early that changed the game. But, man, you guys had the Deion Dawkins, the left tackle, on. He's really good. He's a top 5 left tackle. I just like everything that they've done to refurbish the defense. And then DJ Moore is going to be an X factor because I just think he's in that A.J. Brown league in ability to play strong and fast, where he's a difference maker, and he's going to change life for for Josh.
The A.J. Brown league, though?
Yeah,
DJ
I do.
Moore?
I do think he is, and I think
Especially
he got
if
a
he's
little
linked with
lost.
Josh Allen.
You know, he and Caleb never connected. They never. I know he put up some good numbers the first year.
Yeah.
But last year they were not on the same page all the way into the playoff game against the Rams. So I got Bills over Rams in the Super Bowl because I'm going to stand by everything I said about the Rams. They're just a little better than the Seahawks, and it's the best division, and that makes them the best team in the NFC. And I really, that play, what will propel the Rams to the Super Bowl this coming year was the 4th and 4 play at the 6-yard line late in the NFC Championship game. And Matt Stafford had one throw to win the game. Who knows what Sam would have done after that? Maybe Sam would have come down and changed life. But Matt Stafford had that one throw, and he looked quick to Devontae, but then he came back to Terrence Ferguson, the 6'5" rookie, and tried to force it in, and Witherspoon just was all over it. And it didn't have a chance. And I think it'll tear up. I'll bet you wherever Matt Stafford is today, he's thinking about that play. Like, I should have had that one. I should have done this, or I should have done that. And it drove him to say, I got to come back and get another chip. And I think he will come back and get them to the chip.
Skip, I'm actually agreeing with you a lot today.
Really?
Which is
Wow,
because
scary.
I have Bills Rams in the Super Bowl, but
Woo.
I'm gonna go with the Rams. Are gonna beat the Bills.
Okay.
So we're disagreeing on that front.
So
but
I don't know. I usually like Seattle won a Super Bowl. I just on paper you look at their roster and you say like, that's a Super Bowl team. You know what I'm saying when who did it before them? The Eagles. You look at that that's a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, I agree.
You know I always talk about us, right? You look at our roster, you say that's a Super Bowl.
You talk about the Broncos a lot. Weird.
I'm just saying. The Chiefs, when they was winning, you look at their roster,
Yep.
shit, that's a Super Bowl team.
Okay.
You look at this Bills roster and say, that's a Super Bowl team?
Hey,
don't know.
and that's a hell of a point. Because when I was looking at some of these,
Well, if
one
you're
of
a
the
Bronco,
questions
it is.
we're gonna get to later, and I'm like, I
Super
can't-
Bowl, they might be good, but I just don't look at this Bills roster and say, that's a Super Bowl
you
team.
talking defense?
Wait a second.
I'm
overall.
just talking overall.
You don't think
Overall.
offensively they have a Super Bowl roster?
Nah.
If I played against
James
DJ
Cook and
Ward,
Josh
Shakir,
Allen.
and Joshua Palmer, or Keon Coleman,
Okay, but don't
that's
for-
a left and right day.
Yeah, but you're just talking receivers.
I start on Wednesday.
Wait, Dalton Kincaid?
Yeah,
You don't
tight
think?
end.
My
They want to get the ball to
God.
Kincaid to knock.
I mean, they had
Is Dawson
but
Kincaid?
I think to your
is he a top 5 tight end?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm gonna tell
We
you,
fear
and
him.
I'ma
We
tell
fear
you-
Dawson
And,
Kincaid.
and I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
what Dalton
He
Kincaid
absolutely
and
has
Knox
the
as a
ability
safety
to.
who walks
Is
tight
he,
ends,
though?
primarily.
Yes, I think so.
Red zone, they great because Allen get to running around. He find them
Exactly.
late. But as far as routes and one-on-one, I'm not worried about them at all.
At all, bro.
Even
He's
if you
not-
look at their
it's five
yardage,
tight
they had a
ends.
lot of touchdowns, but their yardage was like 400 yards.
And I hear you guys, but
Like put him Joku on the Bills. He's a one-on-one winner. He better than Dawson Kincaid.
He is not.
I'm gonna take in Joku before I
What?
take Kincaid. What?
Dalton
He's a monster.
Kincaid?
hey, I like.
He's a monster, bro. And he's still
I was looking
gonna
at Cleveland,
uncover
that's my guy.
and catch the
Oh.
same
That's my guy.
scramble
Seven
drill.
They're your guy.
He gonna catch
Every
the same
back of the
scramble
end
drill
zone.
that
Have to throw to him.
Kincaid catch.
After
Wait,
Josh
isn't
Allen get out the
still
pocket,
unsigned?
nah, he ain't there. He ain't with.
Yeah, he probably be still unsigned.
I
He
mean,
gonna
he's
end up
still
with
out on the
somebody.
market.
He's still gonna. Hey,
Boy, he's a
It's-
monster.
people
If Dalton
wanted him, they would have
Kincaid-
got
He's a
him.
monster.
if Dalton
You know he's
Kincaid
coming
was a
off an
free agent
injury,
right now,
Skip.
he'd be
He was hurt.
free too.
He was hurt. He coming off an injury.
Like I
so-
just don't
Okay.
see him as a top 5 tight end in our league. Like
Okay, but
We're
what's
not
funny
going
about
into
what
that
you're
game
saying
fearing
is,
him.
I look at your Bronco too deep, and I'm like, what?
I look at the
Evan
Broncos.
Ingram?
offense,
Broncos
and
don't look
I have
like
a lot of question marks on
a
the
Super Bowl
Broncos
winning
offense.
team.
No.
What they got
Who
2
do I-
All Pros on their line on their offensive line. They got
Defensive
them,
player of the year.
like come on, they
All
got
Pros.
defensive player of the year. They got a sack leader. They got guys everywhere.
Okay, you
When
just
you
said
guys
this.
get that number 1 wide receiver, I might change my mind.
Do you think? Do you?
That's
You
all
think
they
that-
missing. If that's all they missing
I
on
also
that
am
roster
not
is
really sold on your running backs. I know you guys like J.K. I'm not sold on
Was
him.
J.K. healthy though?
Would
I
you
don't
take?
know.
The bad
I don't know.
man.
Would you take the Broncos receiving running back, their weapons on offensive skill players over the Bills skill players?
No.
We're just looking on paper. I'm not saying productivity.
Yeah,
what they
I
do.
would.
On paper,
They
you would. Okay.
they barely
You
they
know
give
why?
it to me.
Because Cortland had a down year last year. He had some drops.
But I
you got
take
a big
Cortland over
body.
them.
You got Troy Franklin. You got Mims get you up top. You got Brian, who's a good route runner.
And what about
Hey,
Bo
man,
Nix
that's a hell of
versus
a,
Josh
that's a
Allen?
nice 4 over they 3. Yeah, I'll take our 4 over they 3.
Who's the tight end? I mean, what?
Evan Ingram, man.
We got
come
Evan
on,
Ingram
Skip.
and Troutman.
He's
We just
like
don't throw him the
38 years
ball.
old. He's
Ingram I had on my fantasy. I was unimpressed.
Well, that's because we didn't give him the ball, Kinsey. We wasn't targeting him,
Very
man. We got to
unimpressed.
The
target
games
my
he got
guy.
targeted, he balled.
Yeah, he snapped.
All right. Well, the team is disagreeing on this Super Bowl, but we got a lot of time before this. I do want to look at, though, a dark horse because it's not always the favorites that get to the bowl. I mean, you look at the Seahawks and the Patriots, they weren't even in the playoffs the previous year.
Well, they were
So-
like 80 and 60 to 1 to get to the Super Bowl before the year started.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, okay, let's look at, I want to get a dark horse prediction. So I want a team that wasn't in the playoffs that's going to be your dark horse prediction. I'm going to start with you, TJ.
How dark?
Yeah.
How dark we talking?
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't go that dark.
I didn't either.
I ain't
I
I went dark.
I went non-playoff.
You went dark?
I went
non-playoff.
non-playoff.
TJ's going to
I
say the
went
Giants,
dark.
and
I
we're all
went
going to
dark.
lie.
Dark.
I went dark.
Black dark. Shadow dark.
Vader dark. Yeah, you know what? I went with the Giants. That's my dark horse. I've been
Damn it.
talking about the
Damn it.
Giants, man.
I
Hey,
knew
shout
it.
out New York.
I can't wait. I can't
look.
wait.
Good for
Okay,
you.
but look, we
I
talking
don't
about.
hate it, TJ. I
Look,
don't hate that,
the
man.
Giants.
I gotta
man,
write this one down.
It's something. And when I look at the roster, I look at the coaching staff. You know, you got Harbaugh coming in. You hire a new defensive coordinator, Denard Wilson, who had, you know, the Titans second in overall defense when he was there his first year. You look at the pieces. You got the pass rush, the defensive line. You got a high draft pick. Now with that 5-pick, Skip, who you like? Who's your best player? That running back, right? Just imagine the Giants at that running
It's
back.
possible they would
They
take.
got Scatterbo.
They got Scatterbo, but they need some speed. You know
Yeah.
they need some speed.
Yeah.
You need some speed. And when I look at how they lost last year, they played with 3 quarterbacks. You had your Dart, you had Russell Wilson, you had Jameis Wilson come in, your running back get hurt. The offensive line is top 10 in the league. They got a cold center, two tackles that was top 5 in pass blocking efficiency. They added the middle linebacker Edmonds from Chicago, who was hurt towards the back end of that season. But you know, if you ask me, one of the Mikes you want in the middle. He can play the run, he can play the pass. They got 2 guys in the secondary. Newsome, I talked about Adobe. I talked about who's coming back to them. I think they just got a lot of pieces in place, and then you add that mind that general that's leading them on the field week in and week out. Man, Harbaugh, he gonna have them boys right. I'm telling you, the Giants are gonna sneak up and bite a lot of people in the ass for those very reasons, man. They got an O-line, they got a D-line. You got a pass rush, you got pass pro. You got a physical back, you go get an athletic back. You got receivers, you got your main neighbors coming back. You got Slayton back. You got the slot from Pittsburgh that they just brought over.
did.
Man, look,
Yeah.
they got some players, man. You can't sleep
got,
on them. Then they got
Mooney.
the 5
Believe in
pick.
Dart
Mooney
that
coming
much?
back
Had
from
it,
Atlanta.
Mooney.
Yeah.
Mooney. Then you got
No, I
5
hate
and
it,
37 and 105, man. You go get that guy from Notre Dame at 5 and 37. You go get a D tackle, maybe another linebacker, or maybe a safety. Or you could get Caleb Downs at 5 if you want to add a safety
Good.
to that. Or you go get your boy Sonny Styles and put him in the middle with Edwards, man. They got a lot of options to do, and they're going to be a hell of a good team next year. Watch.
If a dark horse is 8-8.
I like it, TJ. I'm sold.
Yeah, but
I'm
you,
sold.
you stuck by your guns.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
impressed. Yeah.
Leave.
Leave.
You went for
I
not
ain't
so
go
dark?
as dark.
I went
You
navy
went
blue.
for light.
Yeah, I
You went light.
went, just a little dark, not that dark. But they wasn't in the playoffs last year. I'm going to Ravens. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to Ravens. I think they
That's
have
fair.
a hell of an offseason, starting with DeClain Doyle, you know what I'm saying, putting it out there, his expectations. I think Lamar pull up and stay in Baltimore the entire offseason. And everybody is out there for the entire offseason. They have a Patriot-like offseason, 99.9% attendance. That's where it's going to start. I think under DeClain Doyle, they lead the league in rushing. I think they always run the ball good. Now, he bring his little sauce from his Ben Johnson sauce, add that to it. I think they lead the league in rushing.
He was there for like 1 year.
Yeah, it don't take long, Skip. It don't take long.
Never called a play. He's
Yeah,
like,
it don't take long.
he's
Skip.
30.
You just learn the cheat codes. I'm
They're going to
telling
be
you,
calling rotation.
it's all about the little
like
cheat
this pick.
codes.
I like this pick.
It's all about the little cheat codes. Like the Patriots used to have their little shit they do to cheat, and they always. Ben Johnson got some shit he do that always make him run the ball the way he do.
Yep.
And if you in that building, you gonna learn it. See, you gonna see the Chiefs gonna run the shit out the ball, and the Ravens
they
gonna
got Derrick
continue to
Henry.
run the shit out the ball. They
Yeah.
will have a top 5 defense under Jesse Minter.
Top 5?
A top 5 defense under Jesse Minter and Anthony Weaver. Because you look at the guys, they got Matabuke. They add Trey Henderson. They got Roquan. They got
Kyle Hamilton.
They got Kyle Hamilton on. They got a guy on every level. They got for Humphreys. They got young Wiggins outside. They got guys all around. They need a real scheme that everybody believe in, and they need a coordinator who's going to get a little bit more out of the extra guys. You know what I'm saying? They going to have a top 5 defense under Minter and Anthony Weaver. All they got to do is stay healthy. You know, you don't know what's going to happen in that area. But if they stay healthy, if they win the offseason, as far as attendance, the fucking Ravens is going to be a problem.
Okay, but you just picked as a dark horse a team that a lot of people picked to win the Super Bowl last year.
Well, the question says,
I'm just
what
saying.
non-playoff team? What non-playoff team? I skipped the rest of it.
Yeah.
Super Bowl contender. Oh, there you go, right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm skimming. I'm doing work.
Hey, Bob,
They ain't make the playoff.
We get now. We getting
I almost called you
black
guys
jelly
last night,
bean.
too. I was going to call you like, hey, are we doing? Is it non-playoff or is it?
Hey, I'm going non-playoff. I'm just answering the question.
I like that.
I was originally, but I was like,
Yeah, I'm with Aqib on this, so
Oh.
I didn't go with a team that's a dark horse. I just went with a non-playoff team. I'm going with the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions are going to be a lot better next year. They're in between. I think they were a forgotten team last year.
The same as the Ravens. Shit, they was a Super Bowl favorite last year.
They're a little
I think
lower.
the Ravens just had more light on them last year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe more
Well, I think towards the end of the year, so the Lions lost 4 of their last 6 games, and it felt like they were the forgotten team in the NFC North because everyone was focused on what the Bears were doing and what the Packers were doing and the drama in Minnesota. Yeah. Everyone kind of forgot about the Lions. I don't think that'll be the case this year. I think they're going to be good offensively. I really like Jahmyr Gibbs, even with Montgomery gone. I'm curious to see what his production looks like next year, how they use him. You know, obviously that they had some up and downs last year on the offensive side of the ball, but they have the pieces in place. On the outside, they have a great wide receiver combo with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams. Sam Laporta's one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Talk about top 5 tight ends. Absolutely, Sam Laporta's in that area. And then Jared Goff, too. I mean, you know, he had quietly a really good season last year. 4,500 yards, 34 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions. He was not the reason that they didn't make it to the playoffs. He did everything that he possibly could. So I think offensively they'll be really good. Defensively, they got to get better, and I think they will be. But I think it's important to note, remember how many injuries they had last season, especially to their secondary? So you can't judge them statistically on what they did. You have to look at the season in totality with how many injuries they had. Kelvin Shepard's coming back for a second season as their DC. I think he can help them get to that next level. And then the X factor in all this is my man Dan Campbell. This is exactly where Dan Campbell wants to be. You're back against the wall. Everyone's written you off. You felt like you let your team down last year. You know, you're not quite a dark horse, but you're a team that no one thinks is going to make a Super Bowl run. And now he can take that motivation into the offseason, lead his guys. I promise you, he probably hasn't slept since the season ended in January. He's going to be ready to go this offseason in OTAs.
Is he going to continue to call plays, you think?
That's going to be the interesting part, what they do offensively. I do think that he'll be heavily involved with the coordinator position, or with the play calling, but I don't know if he'll want to take over those full-time duties. We'll see. I think they're going to figure it out in the offseason. I think they'll figure it out in OTAs, preseason, and then if he has to during season, he'll do so. But yeah, I have the Lions being a dark horse favorite to be a contender for the Super Bowl.
So last year, didn't you have them in the Super Bowl last year? So
I did.
Now they went from Super Bowl to dark horse. Okay.
Yeah.
Non-playoff.
It's non-playoff.
Cody loves the Seahawks, the Lions, and the Bills. That's
defense,
what I'm learning
they gotta
about,
get together, Cody. I know you're a quarterback, but that defense ain't tight. You ain't
that
going
defense
nowhere.
is straight, though.
Yeah.
They just
But
was banged up.
Yeah, they banged up. They lost
Amit.
brother Amit.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on with Arnold. You know, he got, I'm talking
Man,
about.
he'll be all right.
And
You're talking about Detroit?
Brandt's coming back, though.
Yeah, we talking about Detroit.
Anzalone went to
They got Pacheco.
Yeah, he left.
Yeah.
Pacheco
They still got their other backer, though.
replacing Montgomery. They said call him Taz.
Skip, are you going dark, or are we going not so dark?
Skip talking like he going dark.
I know.
Okay. I don't know what dark is to you. Are you like this is
Cognac.
that dark, right?
Okay.
Okay, the obvious one for me, because we talked about the other day, with Kyler going to Minnesota, I'm already all in. They're going to win the division and win one home playoff game
That's dark
at
to
least.
me.
At
You think
least.
that's dark?
But I'm gonna go darker. I'm gonna go off radar. I'm going all the way to 5-12. I'm going with the
Bengals.
Washington Commanders.
Lord.
Oh Lord!
You love Jaden Daniels.
Oh,
I
Lord.
just, okay,
NFC East.
how-
NFC East.
who has the best quarterback in the NFC East? To me, it's not even close. It's Jaden Daniels. He's like somewhere else above Dak. He's
Well,
just like,
Really?
What are we judging that on? Super Bowls?
I'm judging it on he
Or
played
wins?
20 straight games as a rookie.
I'm
20
like-
straight
Are we
games.
judging off
Talking
rookie
about-
years? Then?
Yeah, and they got to the NFC chip, right?
But we judging it off rookie years?
I mean,
That's
well,
a
I
hot
mean, he
take.
just had the
Pre-injury.
greatest rookie year of any quarterback ever.
Well,
ever.
And that's enough to go on?
you gotta give
Yeah.
him some
You're talking
credit.
about a Super Bowl winner, Jalen
I mean,
Hurts, and
but
Dak Prescott.
coming off the injury, you know what I'm saying? If he had
We're talking about all pros in that
right.
division.
Okay, so here's the point. If you start with Jaden Daniels, and then I look at what they just did to revitalize their defense, you like Oweh because you kept talking about ooh-wee, right?
Ooh-wee.
Okay, they went and got ooh-wee. And they went and got Chason, he's pretty, I don't think
Yeah,
he's
he's not-
great,
I
but
like
he's
Chason.
pretty good.
Yeah, I like
Good
that.
players.
And they got a Minahu who's in Kansas City. He would do some things for you, so he'll give them pop in the pass rush rotation. And my guy Dorrance Armstrong from Dallas was hurt all last year, and he
Yep.
will be back. And he's a factor, man, because he brings it. And then you just mentioned Amik Robertson. He's now a Washington Commander, and he will help them. And they got Tim Sell Jr. from the Texans, who's a force in the middle of the defensive line. And they got Nick Cross from the Colts, who's been a really good starting safety. All of a sudden, they just revamped and revitalized the whole defense. And they got Rashad White, who I always liked in Tampa because he can run it and catch it, and he's just slippery and savvy and just gets loose. And you mentioned it. I don't know if the Giants would take Jeremiah Love at 5. We got Titans. Titans are at 4, and I think they would consider him. But it's going to be 4, then Giants 5. Cleveland might think about it at 6. But if he gets to 7, if he goes to the Commanders, you better look out because they're just they got firepower, starting with that quarterback who can obviously run it, and Aqib doesn't like him running
think
it.
they're gonna get him.
But listen,
You just mentioned Rashad.
but look at the yards he put up as a rookie. I don't know how you discount that. Both running it and throwing it, he was sensational. There's never been better numbers put up for 20 straight games by a rookie quarterback in the history of this league. And he was hurt twice last year. Not dangerously or long term, but he got hurt twice. And if he bounces back and plays 20 straight games next year, they are going to win the division because they're that good to me. And Dan Quinn is that good. And I've seen it from him before.
I wasn't expecting that answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll give you that, Skip.
And that was
Dan
dark.
Quinn, he could get that defense together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Well, he
can.
gonna need to.
It's the offense, though, too. You know, obviously they parted ways with Cliff Kingsbury. They brought in David Blau,
Blau.
who was a former quarterback. This is gonna be
But he was.
he was there.
Yeah.
He's going to be a first-time play
But
caller.
I think
It'll be interesting.
Jaden will. I think he was the good cop to Cliff's bad cop.
Which is good sometimes, though, too, because, you know, when you have a younger play caller like
Yeah.
that who's kind of putting together, you know, watching Cliff, this worked well, this didn't, he can kind of come up with things in the shadows so that
Yeah.
when it becomes his opportunity, he might have new, fresh ideas to get them going. Yeah, no, I don't hate that pick, Skip. I really like Jaden Daniels, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go dark. I'm going to go, and not shocking though, the Cincinnati Bengals. Because,
Okay, well,
Dark.
there's another one. We both picked him to be in the Super Bowl.
But
But
they
I
was
still think-
trash, so
Yeah.
that's dark.
Okay.
yeah, where'd they go? Yeah, it was a terrible season. But Joe Burrow's going to be healthy. He likes to stay healthy every other season and go absolutely insane.
do. He
Nobody
does.
can outscore that offense when they've got that whole crew together. So they just need the defense a little better. And their O-line was a problem. At the end of last year after they got Dalton Reisner, they were ranked 7th in their O-line, which is impressive. Then on the offseason, they went and spread out over $100 million on that defense.
Yep.
And then they're going to get Caleb Downs
Yep.
or Sonny Styles.
Yep.
And they just need that defense to be a little bit better. And Joe Burrow will put up 30 every single game.
will.
And they'll
Middle
be
of
in
the
the Super
pack.
Bowl.
I
Yeah.
definitely had them number 2. I just
Okay.
wanted to go a little darker.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
almost went Bengals, but I picked them to win the chip last
Well,
year.
that's why I'm
Yeah,
saying.
okay, so that's not dark.
so
Okay,
what's
so we
wrong
went
with
less
that?
dark.
Yeah, I just
What's
did.
wrong with that?
We went less dark. All right, let's move on then. We got to talk about your Cowboys, I think, right? We
Do
was
we
gonna talk
have
about
to?
the Cowboys.
We have to.
Oh, that was cowboy blue.
It was-
Oh,
Okay,
Cowboys.
okay, I see what
I'm
you
still
on,
hanging
Skip.
in there.
I
Everything
see what
but
you
blue. Everything but Bronco blue.
Yeah.
So 1996, Cody was in diapers, was the last time that the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. And since then, just 8 playoff wins, and they haven't been in the NFC Championship game since. But they've seen their rivals, the Giants and the Eagles, both win 2 Super Bowls since then. So, Skip, I want to know, give Jerry a GM grade, okay? Because Since last Super Bowl, we need a grade.
30 years worth of grade.
30-year grade, Skip.
All right. Let me preface with context. Just understand, I know Jerry really, really well, and I like the heck out of Jerry Jones off the field. Because if you're around him, you can't help but like him. He's just impossible not to like personally. And yet, understand, I have been lifelong diehard with this team since I was 10 years of age, and they were a baby team, an expansion team. And I grew up with this team, and it's my heart and my soul, and it's been torn out by what's happened the last 30 years. So I know what Super Bowl, Aqib always talks about, he played in Super Bowls, so you know what they feel like. Well, I know what it feels like to experience one as a fan, because I've been through 8 of them, and we won 5 of them. And 5 of those, I was there. I covered them, and I was inside. I was up close and personal with 5 Super Bowls. We didn't win them all, but I was there. And so now I look at the last 30 years, and given the fact that we are still America's team, and we are still the most valuable sports team in the entire world, and the most watched team in the National Football League, I give Jerry Jones for the last 30 years a flat out F, as in flunk, as in fail. Because when you've been there through the 90s, and I was there through that dynasty, and if you saw the Netflix documentary, I was all over it, I all but narrated it, so I lived and breathed that. And when you go from that to you can't find a quarterback after Troy Aikman. And remember, Jerry, with his gusher luck, his oil field luck, he fell into Troy Aikman right from the start, because in 1989, he buys the team and he inherits the #1 overall pick, because in 1988, Green Bay, which shocked me at the time, went and won the last game at Phoenix to get to 4-12, and Dallas lost at home to Philadelphia to get to 3-13. That got them a Troy Aikman who just happened to be available with the first overall pick that year. Sometimes it's right time, right place with right quarterback available. Well, since that, look what we've had. Quincy Carter, Vinny Testaverde, Drew Bledsoe, which led to Tony Romo, undrafted free agent. Okay, undrafted free agent.
A great GM move.
Okay, but listen, and by the way, Sean Payton had something to do with that, because he played at the same school, and he pushed to sign Tony Romo. Okay, so here's what Tony Romo was. He's Dak Prescott before Dak. He goes 78-49 in the regular season, which is pretty good, right? Over 10 years, pretty great. It's sellable, it's marketable, because there's big wow factor to Tony Romo's offense. And he goes 2-4 in the postseason over 10 years, 2-4. Dak, 4th round pick. Oh, fell out of heaven into Jerry's lap. 83-55-1 as the starter over 10 years' time. 83-55-1. Well, the numbers are almost the same as Tony Romo's, except Dak is 2-5 in the postseason. So 2-4 for Romo, 2-5 for Dak Prescott. We don't have a transcendent quarterback. We don't have somebody who can go places when it's time to go places. We don't have anybody you can trust in the postseason. We just have a regular season wonder, which is all that Jerry seems to care about, is box office.
I mean, but he don't know that though, Skip.
Okay, but you got to get me
He don't know
somebody
these guys
better.
can't play in big games when he just know they can play.
Okay,
now they
but-
showing you they can play, because if you put up Drew Brees numbers, his gonna match up with Dak's.
Yeah.
His numbers gonna look like Dak's in the regular season.
Okay, but
He
did
won
he
the
play
chip.
in the post? Yeah.
But I mean, but you don't know that until you put those guys
Okay,
there.
well, now I know it, because I got 10 years of Romo and 10 years of Dak, and I can tell you neither one, I said it after 5 years about Tony Romo. He'll never take us to a Super Bowl. And I'm saying it about Dak Prescott. He'll never take us to a Super Bowl. So it's up to the GM to go find a real live quarterback. We don't have one, and we haven't had one truly since Troy Aikman. That's the God's truth.
But to that point, Skip, you talked about the drought that they had. That's the risk factor involved. If you have a guy that you think can get the job done like Tony Romo and Dak Prescott, it's hard to find top-tier talent at the quarterback position in the NFL on a consistent basis. If you get rid of Dak, if you move on, you risk having another drought of not being able to find a guy. It's tough.
But here's the point. If I look at 30 years body of work, if Jerry had just been some other owner's general manager, he would have been fired 20 years ago. right? He just would have. He would have 10 years after Troy Aikman, and it'd be like, no, you're gone. That's what would have happened.
I don't know. I see 30 years body of work. I know as a GM, you want to win, right?
Yeah.
I see wins. I see 13 playoff appearances, 8 division titles. I see 8 playoff wins, no conference championship games, but also.
Wait, how many playoff wins?
5.
8.
5. It's
Five.
5.
Okay,
They're
it's
5
5 and 13.
13.
5 and 13
Right.
in the last 29
I
years.
get it.
Yeah.
I get
Okay,
it.
Oh, you're
okay,
counting,
and think
yeah.
about this. 11 times in 29 years they made the playoffs. That means 18 times they missed the playoffs over the last 29 years. 18 times
I
they
get it.
missed. Okay.
I get it. As a GM, I want to put together rosters that can win. But first, I got to put together rosters. I got to bring in good talent. That's my job as a GM, right? You look at the talent he brought in since them Super Bowl. We got Greg Ellis, Roy Williams, Jason Witten, Tony Romo, DeMarcus Ware, Tyron Smith, DeMarco Murray, Zach Martin, DeMarcus Lawrence, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, Tyler Smith. Like, these are great draft picks that GM has done. You know what I'm saying? That's his job, too. He don't play no offense, no defense. First, I just assemble teams. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know that Dak Prescott wasn't going to be the best in big games. He didn't know that Tony Romo wasn't going to be the best in big games. He knew, I see something about him. I like him as a quarterback. I can get him for a steal. Boom, they come out being all pros and pro bowlers. That's a great play by my GM, in my opinion. Then you look at who he bringing in free agency. This dude done brought in Terrell Owens, all pro. Leroy Glover, them all pros.
Bill Parcells wanted nothing to do with.
Well, I'm just saying he still was an all pro. He still went crazy when he was in Dallas. George Pickens, all pro. He bringing in all pros. Then you got to get coaches to come to your organization and run the show. That's your other job as a GM, right? This guy done had Bill Parcells, Wade Phillips, Mike McCarthy. Like, he getting big dogs. Jason Garrett, he getting big dogs to come run the show at his organization. So, I mean,
I'm not sure Jason qualified as a big dog.
I mean, Jason Garrett was a good coach. He was solid there. He
was just a
out of all these playoff appearances, Jason Garrett probably had the most.
He just kept going 8-8 every year, but that was.
I mean, hey, well, take Jason Garrett off if you want, then.
Yeah. All right.
Still a damn good list.
That's still a damn good list, you know. So
okay, before you guys go, just think about this: 5 and 13 in the postseason since the last time you were in an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl.
But he didn't play in those games.
Okay. Well, he's responsible for it. He is the owner and the operator. He is the general manager.
He can't dictate everything.
Okay, but over those 30 years, if I look at 5 and 13 of the teams that have played at least 10 playoff games over the last 30 years, the Dallas Cowboys have the worst playoff winning percentage in the league.
They do.
Okay, so
I think that's more to the last 2 quarterbacks than it is to Jerry. Like, he put together great rosters, good enough rosters to get us to this point. If his quarterback crank up in the playoffs like the Drew Breeses do, like the Jalen Hurts do, then they may have a NFC Championship game win or appearance. Or all he can do is put together the roster, man. I feel like that's the main job of a GM, is you put together these rosters to win. Now, if these guys mesh with each other and crank up when it's time to crank up, bro, that ain't really on the GM, if you ask me.
okay, but it's, to me, the GM's responsibility to set a tone and a culture for the team. And Jerry's culture is country club culture because he's also the owner. Players know they can buddy up to Jerry and go over the head of the head coach to Jerry if they have a problem. And that's been a problem for us.
I would give an F to somebody like the Jets, where y'all was in the playoffs 1 or 2 times and really nothing. Like, I don't give it an F. I don't give it an A. But I give it a nice B minus, C plus.
Oh, B minus.
I give them around there. It's not bad. I mean, if you drafting all pros and you getting Hall of Fame coaches to come here and we assembling great rosters, we got 8 division titles. It's teams who can't say they got 8 division titles in the last 30 years. Those teams get Fs. They GMs has failed year after year. So,
Okay,
It could be worse.
Which team right now has the longest playoff drought of winning a playoff game in the league? Dallas is third worst in that.
Were they 0-5, I think, in their last 5 playoff games?
Yeah.
And they're the only team in the last 30 years that hasn't been to the NFC Championship game, too.
That's on the GM, though?
But that's
got
my
6
point.
chips.
Who else you
Fine.
playing?
That's on the GM?
No. So this is where I'm at with it, Skip. As a GM, as an owner, whatever you want to call Jerry Jones, you are graded, obviously, on your wins, your playoff performances, the success you've had with your organization, sure. And they've struggled the last 30 years, so that does knock them down a little bit. But to Aqib's point, in my opinion, he's put together rosters that are capable of winning Super Bowls. They just haven't been able to get over the hump. I mean, in 2007, they had Romo and Barber and Owens and all these players, the top 5 offense, top 10 defense. They lose against the Giants in the divisional round. They win the NFC
They went
East that year.
13-3. They had the 1
They
seed.
did. They
And
did.
Eli went in there and beat them 21-17.
And they couldn't
That's on
convert.
the GM?
They couldn't convert on a
Yeah.
4th down at the end of the game. That
That's
came
not
down
on
to
the GM.
playmaking at the end of the game.
Well, at some point, it has to be.
All right, so the Broncos going to the AFC Championship game. George Payton get all the credit for that.
or
well-
Bo Nix getting hurt, you blame.
George Payton, you knew he had George Payton knew he had ankle problems.
Yeah.
He brought him. So George Payton. We ain't said George Payton name not one time talking about Denver.
Okay, but wait a second. 18 times in 29 years they missed the playoffs. Who's that on? You're just
It's on the-
11 makes and 18 misses in 29 years, and you're not blaming the GM for that?
I'm not, because
My
if the
God.
quarterback is damn good in the regular season, then that means I did a damn good job picking the quarterback.
Yeah, you did a
Now,
damn
once-
good job of selling tickets.
Bro, I don't know he's going to
Can't deny
nut
that,
up in
though.
the playoffs. Like, how can I be the judge of a college player nutting up in the NFL playoffs when he's never been in the NFL playoffs?
Okay, why did
I
Dak
think-
fall to the 4th round?
Well,
Real quick.
okay.
Why did he fall to the 4th round? Because he was pretty good at Mississippi State. I watched him all the time. I was a big fan of that team. But when they got to Tuscaloosa, I know this happens to a lot of people at Tuscaloosa, except for Johnny Manziel, but they get to Tuscaloosa and Dak just falls apart and unravels and has a horrible game.
Well, we seen Jalen Hurts do that in college too.
But-
then we see him come dominate in the big games.
Yeah.
But also, to that point, 2016, Dak's first year, my first year in the league, I was drafted in the 3rd round ahead of
Yep.
Dak, and then he goes to
Oh, you were
Cleveland.
ahead of Dak.
But
That's
and
all
guess
you,
what?
That's it.
I'm sitting on
Yeah.
this damn couch right now talking,
Yeah.
And
and
Dak
Dak
all pro.
Prescott's still playing. You know why, though? I went to Cleveland. He went to Dallas. He went to a good
Did he?
roster. He went to a great
and he
offensive
got a
line.
running back who
They
was
had
his
Des
coach.
Bryant.
Yeah.
They had Jason Witten. They had a solid defense.
Well, they
went
had
13
Ezekiel
and 3 that
Elliott,
year.
who
But
should have
he
been
picked
the
Ezekiel Elliott too.
And he picked Zeke, and he put together that O-line. And so going to a roster matters, and that's solely on the job. Sometimes the head coach, but they're in and out. But of the GM, you've got to build these good rosters. That year in 2016, they had the number 1 seed.
13-3 again.
And guess what?
Lost Aaron Rodgers.
But was that his fault that they go down and score, and then Aaron Rodgers throws a dime to Cook on the sideline with his toe tap, and they kick a field
Like,
goal?
what Jerry gonna do about
You can't
that?
blame that on Jerry. Those are the things. And look, I'm not going to. Jerry Jones has made mistakes throughout his career. You know that better than anybody. We all know that. So I'm not sitting here just trying to pound the table for Jerry Jones. But when it comes to the success that the Cowboys have had the last 30 years, or the lack of success, you can't put it all on Jerry Jones. I'm with Aqib. I'm right at that C+, B- range, because I think he has put together rosters that are capable of winning a Super Bowl. I mean, 2021 to 2023, they had 3 straight 12-win seasons, lost in the wild card twice, lost in the divisional round the other time. Those were teams that were good enough. Those were top 5 offenses, top 5 defenses that Jerry Jones put together. They just couldn't get over the hump.
five
That's not always
defense?
on the GM.
But you look at these O-lines he put together.
Well,
Come on, bro.
I'm looking at his decision making. Yeah, he accumulates talent, and you have a regular season roster that's winning. But when you go looking to go to that next level, you gotta, especially when you're looking to repay people. Where are you repaying these? Where are you repaying these players? Right. A lot of that attention goes to the offense with Jerry. Like Skip say, selling tickets. But are they repaying players that it's going to take to win those close games like you talking about? When do you know that this guy can't win close games? Do you pay Tony Romo again? Do you pay Dak Prescott again? Like, you have these quarterbacks, but are they good, or are they as good, like to your point, because they're good quarterbacks, or because you put everything around them that a quarterback needs to succeed? You put the receivers, you put the TOs, you put the Pickens, you put the CDs,
Yeah.
you put the Zeke Elliott's,
Good point.
you put the offensive line. So now they're kind of hampered by all the players around them. When you really need to be playing these defenses, and you're trying to, I feel you're trying to get back to that triplets, the Aikman, the Emmett, and the Michael Irvins, when you really need to be getting back to the Haleys, the Deion Sanders,
Yeah.
the Ken
Mark
Norton
Ware.
Juniors, the Woodsons, the D Wares. You need
ain't
to be
doing
paying
that neither.
those guys. Not lately.
DeMarcus Ware.
I mean, as a whole,
DeMarcus
yeah, he
Lawrence.
got DeMarcus. Who? But who was on that total defense? I don't know. I didn't.
Got a
look
bunch
that
of guys.
But they
He stayed
not
out.
as a whole. Jerry mostly is paying the Wittens, the Zach Martins. All those guys, they get repaid. But you don't always see that on the defensive side. They get paid. They come in their rookie year. You may pay one of them. You may pay two of them. But you're not paying the whole defense to remain as a cohesive unit like you need to do to get over the hump. You seen Romo fumble the snap. But you pay him
Fluky
anyway.
though.
You
He
pay
supposed
him
to not
anyway.
pay him because he dropped a hold. He's not a holder.
If there's
He's a
consistency
quarterback.
to you not being able to win in the
He
playoffs,
just drove him down
I'm
there.
not paying you again.
How did they get that
I'm
field
not
goal
paying
attempt
you again.
from Romo?
Yeah, but did
What are we talking
we talking
about?
about big moments you fumbling the ball.
Talking about a holder.
We talking about big moments you fumbling
Hey,
the
man,
ball.
Come on, man.
That's all
Big
I'm
moments,
saying.
he got him down there to win the
Free
game.
agent, 4th round pick, Troy Aikman. You had Bledsoe and Quincy Carter in there for a little bit.
Yep.
You're 11th in winning percentage overall, so you top tier in winning overall.
Like, come on, bro.
You're just not getting over the hump. So I'm like in between. So I gave it a C.
All right.
Between both of y'all.
Well, the chat is mostly leaning towards a C, but right behind is an F. Okay, yeah. So
F is crazy, though.
37% gave it a C, 32% gave it an F.
Look, if
The F is crazy.
If you live through those Super Bowls the way I do, you just give it an F because it's just too long. Well, it's just 30 years.
Yeah.
It's 30 years.
I
Skip,
feel
do you
that.
think a big part of that for you specifically or for lifelong Cowboys fans is the excitement that you got by winning those Super Bowls early on under Jerry Jones, and then it felt like, man, we're going to just run the table. We're going to be like a New England-type dynasty like they had the last 20 years, and then it's just been letdown after letdown. You think that obviously plays a big factor?
Well, I've said this before, but I was at their victory party after
Yeah.
the last Super Bowl in '95, and Dion's there, and Michael's
Yeah.
there, and everybody's there. Coach Switzer's there.
Yeah.
And if you'd told me that night that it'll be 30 years with no NFC championship game, I would have laughed in your face because it felt like they were poised to win a couple of more.
Right.
And everybody got hurt. Aikman got hurt and had to quit prematurely. Michael Irvin had a spine injury and had to quit prematurely. It happens. It's dog eat dog in this league, and it changes overnight. And once it changed overnight, Jerry alone, without Jimmy or Switzer, couldn't reflip the switch. And he kept reaching. He reached for Parcells, who'd never fit in Dallas, and hated Terrell Owens and rebelled against that move. So I don't know. Jerry has become a symbol for losing, and he's the tone setter for the franchise. When I look at him now, when I see a picture of him, I think loser. I just do. I do.
There's not a lot of people who see Jerry and think loser, though.
I don't know. I mean,
It's
like
not,
what
Skip.
what
I think
can
that
go
man's
wrong?
rich.
But I think, hey, American
winning.
team.
America's
Hey,
team.
Billions with a
winning.
B.
10 billion.
Okay,
Regardless of
I
their
got it.
He
record,
winning in life.
he's winning. I see that.
Winning the oil, winning in life.
Lifetime.
Okay.
Hey, man.
Okay, are they going to make the playoffs next year?
Yes.
You know what? They were on my
They
dark
are
horse.
going to
Yes?
make the playoffs.
You got
this year.
3?
They were on my
think
dark
so.
horse list. They were.
They was on mine, too.
They were on
Well,
my
you
dark
didn't
horse
go
list.
there because you don't trust them.
I just wanted to go to Ravens.
Yeah.
I want to be
Also-
the one that said the Ravens. That's why.
Disclaimer: there's nowhere else I'd rather be sitting than on this damn couch. By the way.
Oh, yeah, for
with
sure.
you guys. So
No, you
Thank-
want
let me
to
say that
go
out there.
play for the Cowboys.
I'd rather be sitting
I
on
get
this
it.
damn couch than being the quarterback for the Cowboys right now. With everybody, Skip.
All right, guys.
What if-
Promise.
Wait a second.
I didn't mean that to be a negative thing, man. Hey,
Nah,
whoop,
man,
whoop.
we get it.
Wait,
We all know
Let's clear that up right now.
every damn
shit.
one of us would be playing for the Cowboys right now. if
So
that was
wait a
happening.
second.
Hell no, I want to be sitting here with you guys.
What if Jerry had taken you in the 3rd round? Then what would have happened?
You know what, Skip?
Hey.
So funny story is I thought that was a potential landing
I'm
spot.
sure
I
it was.
played in the Senior Bowl for Jason Garrett.
Yep.
Had a really good Senior Bowl. Had a great or draft process.
Yeah.
My agent was telling me Dallas is absolutely in the running, and then I kind of had my fingers crossed, and then got a call from Brio, Ohio, and ended up in Cleveland.
Hey, you know that's
that's
a funny
beautiful.
story because when I was in Cleveland, maybe when I got to Denver, I think our special team coordinator was in Dallas. He was like, you know what, we almost drafted you in that year. I'm like,
Really?
oh, you let me go to Cleveland, huh?
Yeah. Oh.
And during the combine, I had 31 interviews. The only team I did not interview with was the Cowboys. They didn't want no parts to leave. I'm
Really?
hometown. They knew about me, DPD and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, They ain't want no parts of me. They knew my background.
That was a mistake. See,
Jerry
Jerry gets an F
Maybe
for
that would have
that.
got him over the hump.
Yeah, you know what? In second thought, F.
Give me that. Should have brought Leave in there, man. I got you over the hump, bro.
All right, let's move on to a team that actually hasn't won a playoff game since 2002. All right, so I think they've got a little bit more issues than the Cowboys,
they get an
okay?
F.
But they get an F.
So.
You two, Lieb and Skip did say that the Raiders won free agency. They are making moves right now. I want to put up on the screen what they Tyler Lindenbaum, they got Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Naylor, Eric Stokes. This is looking nice. And obviously they've got the first overall. They're going to be taking probably Fernando Mendoza. Things are looking up for the Raiders, but I do want to know, how many games do we think they can win this year, Lieb?
Okay, I looked at this schedule.
And Max is staying.
It was tough. It's a hard schedule.
Tough-ass schedule, man.
But I look at everybody's schedule, and they all tough.
It's the NFL, yeah.
It's the NFL. It's nobody's schedule you look at and say, oh, they got an easy schedule.
That's
like
true.
it's
And
dog
teams
after
change
dog.
so much every year.
They do. So I give the Raiders 8 wins. Man, I think they have a big improvement from their 3 wins last year. They get plus 5 wins. That'll be a great start for Coob. And I think it's a few more reliable veteran O-linemen that's out there that I think they'll end up bringing in and giving them a chance to be the guy. It's a bunch of them. I was looking at this free agency list last night, and I'm like, man, it's some guys out there who can go play for the Raiders. They need to bring them in right now. So I think they go from being the worst offense in the league to a middle-of-the-pack offense with Coob, just like that. You know what I'm saying? With his scheme, with the guys they got, Naylor, with Mendoza. Mendoza been studying virtually in NFL offense. He's been done school for 2 years, man. He ready to go. I think he's going to come in, he's going to wow people on his maturity, and I think he'll be ahead of the curve. I think they go from being a middle-of-the-pack defense. Their defense wasn't that bad last year. It was middle of the pack. You go look at the numbers. It wasn't just terrible last year. I think they go from being a middle-of-the-pack defense, bring in Teron Johnson, them 2 middle backers, them 2 edge guys, you keep Crosby. They go be right outside that top 10, 11, 12. They even get better. They improve on defense. They lose 9, maybe 10 games, and I think it's a bunch of one-score games, Skip. And when you had that year where we go 8-9 and we lose a bunch of one-score games, you come in that next year. They still have a little paper to spend. They gonna be coming, what is that, 2027 season? Man, we're gonna have to look out for these Raiders. It's not gonna take them long. They're gonna be something to deal with here soon. So I give them 8 wins. I think they vastly improve and they compete all year against everybody they play.
I got one less than Lee. I got them at 7 and 10. Usually, in these type of situations, it's smaller increments. It's a 2-year play. So you might win 4 or 5 more games. This year, you got a brand new quarterback, brand new coach, top pick quarterback. Let's not get it twisted, not just a regular quarterback.
Right.
Brand new coach.
A good
Now, when you get a rookie quarterback, he's still a rookie quarterback. He is in that virtual reality. He's been doing that for 2 years. Very mature because he's older. Still a rookie. It's better to have a team in place that's been playing together than to slide a rookie in for him to be successful than bringing a rookie in with a bunch of guys coming in. Although they're good players, they still all been playing for separate teams under separate systems. So it takes a year at least, or at least half the season for them to get acclimated, used to playing together, and, you know, competition level as well. You got to adjust to the competition level as a brand new quarterback. So I think they stay middle of the pack. On defense, the offense is going to get a little bit better because they did, bring a brand new center in, have right guard Jackson Powers. The tackle that they brought in should, help them out. So, 7 wins, it's doable. 8, I think, they might get over. Like I said, one of those, like we were talking about earlier, one of those division teams, you get a win against the Chiefs, the Chargers, who may be better than you on paper, but it's a divisional game, so you get that win.
Right. I think it's about the guys you bring in, too. Like, you see Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, that's Green Bay.
Winning
that's
coach.
Philly.
Winning
You know what I'm saying? You bring Teron Johnson, that's Buffalo. You bring even Linderbaum, that's the Ravens. Like, these are winning culture guys. They walk around the building like Lieb walk around that
Not
building.
only winning culture in the league.
Where I'm at, Kansas now? Oh, yeah, shit. we've been Orange Bowl. Like, that's just my energy. Those guys going to go into that building with that winning-ass energy,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, it's going to crank up quick.
On top of that, your head coach just won a Super Bowl. Also.
Your head coach has got winning energy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you that. It's
And
the
so did his
guys that
dad.
brought in that
First
that
time
building.
ever head coach though. Still.
It is.
But
Great
still, it's just
coordinator.
that
But guess
energy,
what?
man.
His dad is Gary Kubiak, who you guys obviously know. And
My dad won the chip. I won the chip. Come on, man.
But just
I
year
think-
one. Not saying overall they not. Just
Yeah,
year one.
but you know, I think a great thing for Clint Kubiak is when it comes to him being a first-time head coach is he's learning from a guy who's a first-time head coach in Seattle. Before he came over to Las Vegas, was he watched what Mike McDonald had done this past year. I know it was his second year, but he was learning all these different things about, okay, what works well. And I guarantee you they had conversations when he was going through this interview process about, hey, Mike, you know, what worked well for you your first year? What didn't work well? If you could go back at 36 just 2 years ago and redo some things differently, what would you have changed? What would you have done? You know, all these different things that I think that Kubiak's going to take over to Las Vegas. So, yeah, I really like what John Spytek and Clint Kubiak are doing right now with the Raiders. I think they were one of the teams that absolutely won free agency. Even with the Max Crosby situation, they added a lot of young, talented core pieces on both sides of the ball. You talked about Tyler Linderbaum. I like him a lot, you know, and the main reason that I like him is because you're bringing in a rookie quarterback like Fernando Mendoza. When you get there as a rookie, whether you do the virtual, all these different things, everything's going a million mile per hour at first. If you have a guy, a veteran at center like Linderbaum, who can help you with some of those mic identification calls, who can help you with some of those re-identification calls, it makes your job a lot easier. On top of that, their draft pick last year in the first round was Ashton Genty. They could not run the football. Linderbaum's responsible for that as well. The A calls, the B calls, the sift, up to the linebacker, the fan outs. Like, if you're not put in a position to be successful pre-snap, then you're not going to be successful post-snap. Linderbaum helps you do that on offense. So I think they're going to take a huge step forward there defensively with Pay and Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, these guys you talked about. These are all guys that are 26, 27 years old, that are young players that are getting ready to either be in their prime or enter their prime. So right now, I don't think they're ready to win now, but I think in a couple years, like Lieb said, they're going to be legit Super Bowl contenders. With that being said, looking at this schedule, it is extremely, extremely tough. They play the entire NFC West. They play the AFC East. I know, you know, Dolphins, the Jets, I think they win those, but that's the Bills, that's the Patriots, and then obviously their conference is very tough as well. So I'm with TJ. I went with 7 wins as well.
They beat the Patriots last year.
They did.
They did in week 2 or
At
week
the
1, wasn't it?
Patriots.
Yeah.
They did
the
in
week.
Foxborough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going with 7 wins as well. I think this year will be a year where they start to realize, all right, we have the talent, we've got the leadership at head coach, we can start getting things done, and then 2027, 2028, they finally take off. For sure.
So my Bronco buddies are not going to like to hear this, but I don't think you got any better. I think you got a little worse. I think Kansas City got a little worse, losing 3/4 of their secondary. So all of a sudden, the door is open in your division. And next year, what happens in Vegas will not stay in Vegas because they're going to be the talk of the NFL world. Everybody's going to be talking about what's happening in Las Vegas.
Wow.
For all the reasons you made, bingo, 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 the winning energy, it's just revitalized. Everywhere I look at this list, I say, whoa, whoa. And Mendoza, I don't know how you feel ultimately about him, but he just won me over in those 3 playoff
I'm a big
games
fan.
because he just played big, man.
Yep.
He played big and he played clutch. And he's a big kid and he's a little goofy for my taste, but when it's time to play, he just made big plays against good teams. And because of that, I think he'll translate pretty fast. And he's got Clint in his ear. That's great. And to your point, Linderbaum is just huge for him as just a safety net that he knows is up there in front of him.
And don't forget Brock Bowers, too.
Well, I was going to say, if you give me Mendoza and Genty and Brock Bowers, now you got triplety stuff going on,
That's
right?
a top 5 tight end in the league.
Okay.
That is.
He is.
Oh, yeah,
Top
yeah.
3.
Just hard to cover, man.
Talent-wise,
Just quick and strong and all the defensive help that you guys talked about. And then Max Crosby just fell back into their lap. I don't know why they wanted to get rid. I didn't get it.
Me neither.
And it didn't feel right to me. And they accidentally fell back into him because the thing fell through on the other side. And now he's pledging allegiance. And it feels like he was always a Raider at heart.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Well, look, now he's looking around at, we got him, we got him, we got him. We got him. We're good. So I'm going to go one more than you did. I'm going to go talk of the league at 9-8. 9-8. And they're going to have some big wins. over. They'll shock somebody in the NFC West, and they're going to shock a bunch of somebodies in the AFC West.
Okay.
Like it.
Well, let's
We
look-
all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to look more than the AFC West. I kind of want to dive more
Yeah.
into that because obviously the Chargers offense can be really dangerous. Now they're under Mike McDaniel. Then obviously the Chiefs got Kenneth Walker, and they're bringing back Travis Kelce. And the Broncos, obviously, you boys, we've heard it all episode long. I don't need to harp on that one, but they were very close to a Super Bowl win. So TJ, who do you have right now winning the AFC West?
Broncos.
So shocking.
Shocking.
I know.
Shocking.
What, surprise, surprise.
Whoa.
Surprise, surprise, the Broncos. But it goes back to what we always talk about. You talk about the Chiefs bringing in Walker, right? You talk about the Chargers. You talk about what, the Raiders have in Genty. They all have some good running backs. But can you run the ball against the Broncos? Can you run the ball against the Broncos? And the answer is no. You can't run the ball against us. The Chiefs missing 3/4 of their secondary. So now they scraping and scratching to figure out who they going to replace. We all know the Chargers defense, they lost their D coordinator to the head coach in Baltimore. You got the Raiders who are putting their pieces together, not quite ready. We have our returning offense back who we're going to find another explosive piece. J.K. Dobbins is going to be healthy for the full year. So we are going to be more explosive on offense. And I think, we give Evan Ingram more targets going into this season. We're going to be very explosive on offense. You pair that with a immovable defense, secondary intact, line intact, Allen coming back, Cooper coming back, Benito coming back. The sacks are coming back. There's no one that can beat us in our division for the entirety of the season. Pat Mahomes coming back off of ACL. Who knows how good he's going to be? Yeah, he's going to be good. Is he going to be as mobile as he was before? Probably not, especially not in week one early in the year. So week in and week out, we're hands down the best team in the AFC West.
Didn't you tell me P.J. Locke's really good?
P.J. Locke, yeah, he's pretty good, but he didn't.
lost him
We
like
lost
that.
some. We lost a little depth.
Yeah.
But we could regain depth.
still have our starter.
We still have our
Wasn't
starter,
John
Brandon
Franklin
Jones.
Myers pretty good for you guys?
Well,
Pretty good.
See, that's the thing.
Depth.
TJ talked about bringing that. You bringing that depth. Roach played great. You seen him in the against the Bills. He had maybe 2 sacks that game.
did.
Like he balled.
But
In
John
big games, he
Franklin
balled.
Myers got a lot of money. He got 3 years, 36
Yeah,
million.
John Frank is a great player. He's
Yeah.
a great player, man. But
Not there anymore.
not there anymore. Everybody else there, and we got the guy who came in for John Frank and balled. That's probably the reason we probably let him go because how good Roach played. But I stay on this Broncos train. I like the Broncos.
Shocking. Yeah.
Very, very shocking.
Yeah.
Just because we bring back that same defense, you bring back that same coordinator, man. You're going to get that same result right there. TJ talked about it. We're going to stop the shit out the run. We're going to create more turnovers this year because we're going to start it in April. A turnover train, that's the emphasis, is written all over every wall in the building. We're going to create more turnovers this year. That's what we're putting emphasis on this year with the sacks. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to just get sacks. We want to take the ball away when we sack them. The offense, you talk about all those 11, how many was it?
One
Skip?
win.
11.
11, right?
1 point.
Tied the
You know what
all-time
that does
record.
for a
Yeah.
Surprised
team?
you don't know that. He says it every day.
It breeds confidence and it teach you how to win. That's
Yeah.
what it do. No matter what the score is in that game, we always feel like we gonna win it. And you bring back the best defense in the league. Now, the whole city, the whole building, everybody got confidence through Bo. It's through the roof. If it wasn't last year, it is through the roof now. So that's the best ingredient in the world.
It
We
did
got the
shut
top.
people up.
We got the top defense in the league, and now we got the utmost confidence in our quarterback. Because that's what we do, Skip. I'm telling you, we go into the building, man. Who our quarterback? Oh, Peyton. Ah, shit, we win the chip. Brock. Ah, shit.
Yeah.
We don't know if we can do it.
understand.
Yeah, that's how it go. You look at that quarterback, and that determines the morale of the building. The morale of the building gonna be fucking sky high in Denver. You know what I'm saying? With both.
Expectations.
If you go get A.J. Brown, I might rethink this. But that's the only way.
I'm telling you, A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, I'm telling you, just watch.
Oh,
Just
starting
watch.
to throw out some other names.
Just watch.
Oh, yeah, hey, we're getting a
we're
little more
getting
now.
more
This is-
names.
It's gonna be a big splash, Skip. As soon as we do it, I'm gonna FaceTime you, Skip. Get
Oh,
up.
I kind of like it.
Wake
Jalen.
up, Skip.
Hey, wake up.
Get your ass up, Skip. Look, what I tell you, I'm gonna FaceTime you. As soon as it
Jalen
happens.
Waddle.
They call that
I'm
Miles
just-
I
Sanders.
know. I like
Oh,
Jalen
yeah.
Waddle.
I'm just telling you, Skip, we gonna have a guy who you fear.
Yeah,
It's
because
gonna be
right
somebody
now
who you
don't.
fear.
You don't.
You're right. It's going to be somebody who you fear.
You're right.
And that's going to
You
open
said
up the
right.
run game. And
Yeah.
the Chiefs are going to come, though. I'm going to tell you, the Chiefs going to come run the hell out the ball. I'm opposite with Bub on that. I think Pat going to come back and look great because it's 2026, and they fixing ACLs like sprained ankles now.
Okay.
Cody, I
These
need a-
guys shaking back
Go
like
to-
crazy.
Cody, I
it's
need
Kinsey
a-
and hyperbaric chambers. The Chiefs going to come. They're going to have their wide outs from day one. The Chiefs going to come. They're going to look good. They're going to revamp that defense with some young, no-name guys. Those young, no-name guys that had names in 3 years.
They can actually inject the cartilage now into your.
Man, they got all
Fake
kind
cartilage
of
in
stuff.
there?
Yeah.
They got all kind of stem
Ain't no
cell and all
bone in
kind of crazy
bone.
stuff.
Put some
Cody,
gel
can you
in
give me
there.
an unbiased opinion? I'm tired of the bias right now.
Yeah, for Lee, what are you doing? What are you doing if you're walking in and saying, "Oh shit, we got Cody at quarterback"? How you feeling?
Feel me? I like it. I like
Okay,
it.
cool.
I like it. This the top passer all time in USC history, right?
Top
Shit.
five.
Hey, I can win with that. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I like the Broncos. I do like the Broncos a lot. I think they're going to be really good next year. But I'm actually going to go with the Chargers. I think the
Okay.
Chargers are going to win the West next year. Defensively, they've had back-to-back years of being a top 5 defense. I know they lose Jesse Minter to the Ravens, but I love
Big.
what Harbaugh did. He went and hired Chris O'Leary, who was their safeties coach in 2024 when they had the #1 scoring defense, and he comes from that same type of scheme. He was just a defensive coordinator at Western Michigan. They ran a very similar defensive scheme that the Chargers have been running under Minter. So I think that transition for them will be easy, and they'll have a lot of continuity within the system. So I really like that move. And then offensively, they made arguably the best coordinator hire of the entire offseason. They went and got Mike McDaniel, who I think is going to do wonders for that offense. They have the pieces in place. It's just about taking it to that next level. Now, his first priority is going to be protecting Justin Herbert. He was sacked 54 times last year, which was third most in the
Should get
NFL.
both the tackles
But they had injuries up front. That
Yep.
played a big factor. But you also still got to be able, if you lose a tackle for a couple games, if you lose a guy here and there, to protect your quarterback, whether it's adding in some 7-man pass pro, whether it's getting some chips from the running back.
Don't you think
can't
Slater
just,
and Alt will be back?
They'll be back. Yes, both of them will be back. That's a big factor. But injuries happen.
They happen.
I need a coordinator, too, that's still going to be able to protect my quarterback, even if we have some injuries up front. I think Mike McDaniel can do that by the way that he game plans. Looking at their receiver core, I think Quentin Johnson is getting better and better. He's getting more confidence, getting on the same page with Justin Herbert. Ladd McConkey, a little bit less production last year, but we still know what he can do. Really good slot receiver. Got some young guys, too. Gadsden, their tight end. Trey Harris from Ole Miss. I think he'll have a bigger role next year. And just overall right now, I like the way that they're going. I like the direction that they're going under Harbaugh. I think Mike McDaniel can help Justin Herbert, who has all the talent in the world, the size, the arm strength, the mindset, all of those things are there. It's just elevating him to be more consistent and making those plays when it matters most, which is the playoffs, and I think Mike McDaniel can do that. So I'm excited. I think the Chargers are going to be the team to watch in the AFC West next year.
I was going to say you heard it here first, but I'm with you.
Let's go.
Oh, I thought you was
Oh.
going to go. I didn't think you was going to go Chiefs. I know you
No,
was going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chiefs did just sign Justin Fields, and I almost rethought it. I'm kidding. It's like, no. Justin
So
Fields.
now it's Charger blue.
Yeah.
You changed it.
Chargers.
Yeah, the Blues are
Charge the
changing,
Blues.
aren't
Hey,
they?
Mike McDaniel was the move of the offseason
Yeah.
to me because now he can be the mad scientist that he is without having to be the CEO. You know,
Right.
like he's not the commander in chief
Yep.
of it. He's just this offensive genius. So now
I like that
Harbaugh
move,
can
yeah.
run the show, Jim can run the show, and Mike is going to run the hell out of the ball with Omari and Hampton,
Yes.
and they got Keaton Mitchell
Yep.
to be the, because he's a 4-3 guy, and Vidal's still there, so they're going to bang away. And they went and got Charlie Kohler as a blocking tight end, and they got Alec Ingold from Miami who can be their blocking back.
Fullback,
So they're set to just run it to death. And however good Justin Herbert can be, Mike McDaniel will make him, he'll max out. Whatever
Agreed.
his max is, he will be that. And they did bring Khalil Mack back for $18 million, one shot, 1 year, and I like that. So I just like who they are because I still think, unless you go get somebody I'm afraid of at receiver, I still don't, I don't fear your team. That's the problem.
Chargers got somebody you fear at
Nope.
receiver? Hell no.
You know, they need
Yeah.
to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They need to
that's,
draft
that's
somebody.
fair. I agree with you on that, though, Skip. I can't wait to watch the way that Mike McDaniel uses Omari and Hampton because when he's healthy,
He's a
he is
dog.
dangerous. I mean, you saw what he did with Devon Achane last year. I mean,
Yeah.
just the end arounds, getting him outside, getting him inside. I mean, all these different things that you can do with his game planning and his scheme. I think he's going to help Amari and Hampton take that
Quentin
next
Johnston
step.
is a stud, but he doesn't play like a stud.
Exactly.
Man,
You know what? I
he
had some
shows
confidence in
flashes, though,
last
man.
year.
Like,
He did have.
Yeah.
He had a better season last
He
year
did.
than he's been having.
Yes.
So if he could improve
I
and
don't
get more
know.
confidence, especially downfield, y'all might
Yeah.
have somebody. But
Yeah.
he disappears, and when he feels that
Nobody
he can't
picked the
get
Chiefs.
open,
Nobody picked
Nobody picked the
disappears.
Chiefs.
Huh.
completely.
I think with the
Just
Chiefs,
how the Chiefs want it, though. That's
but I
telling you.
went back and
That's how they
forth on
want
the
it.
Chiefs. I still I need to see more about Mahomes' recovery. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know when's he going to be ready. I know he's the type of guy that doesn't need to be there for OTAs and preseason and all of that, but will he be ready by week 1? Or are there going to be some other issues where it maybe lingers into week 5 or 6? Can they tread water before he comes back?
My thing with the
You think he'll
Chiefs,
be ready week 1?
The Super Bowl window been open for so long, it's closed right now. It's going to be closed for a couple years. It'll open back up.
Yeah.
But right now, it's closed.
Yeah.
Well, majority of the chat is going with the Broncos.
Yes, sir.
Really?
And it was a heavy majority. on
Mile
that
High
one.
Magic.
And
That's
then the
called.
Chiefs.
Heavy
and
majority.
then the Chargers.
Okay.
Bo put that shit on tape, man. He put that shit on tape last year, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10%
Stop playing
voted
with
for those
both.
Raiders, though. People are still rooting for them. But you guys, that'll do it for our first episode
Oh,
in the new
damn,
studio.
done already?
Yes, sir.
Yo, man.
Let's go.
Whoop, whoop.
We will see you guys back on Friday. Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop.
Whoa, whoa. Let's go.